Well, day 2 at the Jonesboro Open at the disc side of heaven should have been renamed the backside of hell. The course did not enjoy being torched the way that it was on the first day of the tournament, and it came back. It was a wild thing today. It roared its terrible roars. It rolled its terrible eyes. It gnashed its terrible teeth. It showed its terrible claws. The course played 5 1/4 strokes more difficult than it did on day 1. This course was out for blood today, and as a matter of fact, there was only 3 people who had what we would call a clean card. No bogeys and no OBs. And one of the people that had those clean cards, well, he had a clean card on the round. He was on the lead card coming in, and he had the hot round of the day, and so if you put all those things together, you get 2-time world champion Ricky Wysocki leading the tournament. He played a fantastic round today. From the outside looking in, he really only had one gaffe. He had lots of great shots, and there's some things that probably he thinks he should clean up. But for the rest of us, he really only had one bad shot, and that was his putt for birdie on hole 4. He left it low, about a 20-footer. He was able to clean that up for the par. He had no real trouble that he had to get out of. He technically had some scrambles on the round, but for the most part, he was able to manage his round really well. Well, what about Double G? The leader coming into round 2 by 2 shots, well, he had a very slow start. Matter of fact, he was sitting 1 over par after the 6th hole. The short downhill par 6 island hole, he throws a very nice rock shot flat, a few feet right of the basket, a few feet high of it, and it's going to sit on that hill and stop. If it continues to carry forward, it will run into the pickets at the back of the island. Well, there's about a 2-foot gap in the pickets to allow people to walk out, and Garrett's disc hit the corner of that and pretty much stopped its forward momentum. However, as it spun on the ground, that was enough to give it enough traction to hop out of bounds by about 2 inches. Very bad break, and so he ended up having to take the drop zone on the short side of the pond. He doesn't even get the 20-footer that he would have had if he had played at the last place he was in bounds. But after that, he went 7 under par in a 9-hole stretch to get back onto chasing Ricky, to stay on the lead card, and so he is the one that is 2 shots back heading into the final round chasing the world champ. The other hot round of the day comes from Colton Montgomery coming from a couple of cards back. He will now be joining James Conrad on the lead card, as well as 10 under par, vaulting him up. We're going to have some fantastic action today as these guys are going to chase down Rick, or they're going to try it, and Rick is going to do his best to keep all comers away. Now, if the course played difficult for the men, it was downright beastly for the women's division. When their round started, the temperature was about 20 degrees less, and it was actually snowing when the round was beginning this morning. For about an hour and a half, the snow was coming down. And in speaking with Paige Pierce after the round, she said actually the first few holes, it was kind of cool. You know, all of the snow, it was kind of a unique experience. And then once you realized you had 2 more hours to go and all of your body parts were frozen and you couldn't do very basic things, it kind of stopped being cool. For the men, it played 5 1/4 strokes more difficult. For the women, it played 9.14 strokes more difficult. That is an absolutely incredible disparity between round 1 and round 2. 16 of the holes played over par. One of the 2 remaining holes played at even par. So 17 out of the 18 holes were even par or over par. 2 of those holes played more than a stroke over par individually. There was only 25 birdies in the entire division. But Paige Pierce coming in with a 7-shot lead. She was doing okay to get started, but then she had a really bad stretch. She was 5 over par in 4 holes. After that, she kept it together. Probably the most interesting statistic from Paige on the second day of the tournament was that she had 12 pars out of her 18 holes. Now, you might think that that's not that big of a deal. But when 16 of the holes are playing over par, if you par 12 of them, that means you're probably gaining 12 shots on the field. She did a fantastic job of just staying away from trouble. She came in with a 7-shot lead. She goes into the final round with a 6-shot lead. There are 4 of our women's competitors within 4 shots of each other. Katrina Allen, Sarah Hokum, Jennifer Allen, and Madison Walker. I won't say just at this point that they are racing for second place. However, Paige has a 6-shot lead on a course that suits her advantages. If any of these 4 are going to come catch her, they're going to have to bear down. They're going to probably have to stretch their game and become a lot more aggressive in order to try to steal some strokes on some holes where Paige can play for par and not have to force the issue. I'm really excited to see how this round's going to shake out. Let's go take a look. Here we are with your Day 2 Fantasy Update, and let's look at Eric Saban. He has picked the entire lead card of MPO correctly. He has a perfect possible score. And matter of fact, he used all 6,000 of his points. Not only does he have the top 4 in MPO, he has 2 of the top 3 in FPO. There are many people that are still within striking range. If their player can get hot, make sure to get your picks in for next week so you aren't left out of the challenge. All right, hey Nate Sexton, how you doing?
Great, man. It's a little cold, but I'm making it through.
It is a little cold out here. It's not exactly what we all signed up for. As far, hey, travel the world, play disc golf, see great environments, and warm temperatures and all that.
It might turn out it is exactly what we signed up for, though. Year in and year out, we get some tricky weather, and that's part of it.
So, okay, let's go back before you were ever signing up for disc golf. What if we were running into Nate Sexton in junior high school, whatever? Yeah. What were you doing? What were you passionate about?
Sweet, yeah, soccer. I was a big soccer player all through being a kid. Also, ultimate frisbee. I played that with my family, and then in the city leagues and everything. My dad had a rule that I couldn't play city league till I weighed 100 pounds, so I was trying to pack on the pounds and get in there.
How old were you when that happened?
I got to be middle school sometime.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but I know that I couldn't play in the city league until I weighed 100. So I remember just trying to get there, make sure I could play in the games.
Okay, so looking at your pictures of kind of you in this age, I'm gonna guess maybe like Linkin Park or like Sugar Ray. What?
I wasn't quite that.
What are you listening to?
I would say I was probably I'd probably get into some Green Day.
Okay.
Everclear.
There you go.
Crows,
okay.
Rage Against the Machine.
Big change off the course. You got a little girl now.
Yeah,
tell me about your daughter.
Coraline. She's doing awesome. She's 9 months old. She's got some teeth. About to have a couple more teeth. My wife and I are traveling in the RV with her and our dog Joby, and it's been really fun. It was my wife is in medical school. She only has 6 more months of school till she's a doctor. She took a year off, so with the baby. So it was kind of like our one-shot thing to maybe buy this RV and see some of the country as a family and spend every day together with Coraline and traveling and playing these tournaments. So likely it's just a 1-year thing for us to have that RV and do it, but it's been really, really fun, and we did part of last year, at USDGC. I was in the RV, and it was really great. And we're just going to keep going, traveling. We're all going to Europe together.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. The flight might be tough with the baby, but I think she'll have fun, and it'll be great to kind of keep traveling together, and just watching her grow up is so fun.
What's your favorite part about being a dad?
Wow, it's hard to put it into one sentence, but just waking up every day and being able to grab her and go, oh, hey, good morning, and just kind of like every day just realizing that, she's real and she's ours, and it's funny how long it takes for it to set in,
Yeah.
It's set in, but it's like every day I'm waking up, I'm like, oh yeah, great, that's cool, we have this little baby here with us that we're teaching and protecting, and I'm just excited for the future. Every time I think about, when she's this age and she'll be doing this, and then what about doing this, and just imagining all the things we're going to do, all the adventures we're going to have. That's probably my favorite.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nate.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
At Kids Disc Golf, we believe the future is now. Talented and skilled junior disc golfers are getting ready to join us for the first ever United States Junior Disc Golf Championships hosted at Smuggler's Notch Resort in Jeffersonville, Vermont. Smugs boast world-class amenities and an experience like no other. Join other junior disc golfers and their families August 3rd through 5th and make this a family vacation you'll never forget.
When a business that doesn't have anything to do with disc golf decides to support us, it is so incredibly important that we support them. Buffalo Wild Wings in Jonesboro, Arkansas is one of those businesses that decided to give money to disc golfers. And so, to support them, we went and got lunch on Saturday. We decided to go with the smorgasbord of everything. Nachos, onion rings, quesadillas, chicken wings, wedges, the whole nine. And let me tell you, it was fantastic. We had a good time eating, the service was great, and we were able to go and help the people that are helping us. You go do the same.
We're on hole 12 of the Disc Side of Heaven disc golf course. Hole 12 plays 655 feet as a par 4, starts out slightly downhill and then moves back uphill towards the basket. The basket is on a left to right slope green where you're going to see a lot of rollaways either on missed putts or approach shots. Off the tee, you're going to see the pros go for a really big shot across the creek. The creek is about 430 feet and it does play out of bounds inside of the hay bales. The pros are going to be looking at a blind approach with you're going to see a lot of the pros go with either a sidearm or spike hyzer towards the basket to make sure that their second shots don't roll away. They're going to try to be looking to land on the higher side where the tree is and then kind of slide down towards the basket. For the players that get out of position and either turn it over too much or don't get across the creek, they're going to be looking at a sidearm approach, or they're going to be looking to just get on top of the hill and putt towards the basket. If the wind comes into play this week, you're going to see a lot of the pros lay up before the creek and then approach the basket with that sidearm. And the wind will come into play drastically, especially putting on the left to right slope green on hole 12.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anza Studios, where we are broadcasting live for the 2018 Jonesboro Open, presented by Prodiscus. Sean, we've had a lot of action here in the first 2 rounds. A lot of high scores round 1, some not so high scores round 2. Scoring conditions are great today, though. It looks like there is limited wind, and the snow has melted.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to see scores about the same as Friday, because yesterday played, I think, 3 strokes harder.
Oh, wow.
Just about 3 strokes harder according to the rating.
Okay.
So today we're looking to see people probably well into the double digits, maybe someone scraping the teens.
Okay, wow. So definitely that new course record is on the table if Garrett can get hot. We saw him already shoot a 14 down round 1 to establish that course record. Ricky shot the 12 down. Ricky Wysocki, that is 12 down first round, followed it up with the 10 down second round to maintain first place coming into today's coverage. He is 2 strokes ahead of Garrett Gurthie, who is a stroke ahead of James Conrad and Colton Montgomery, who is locking down that 4th spot, a new name to the coverage.
Yeah, I'm psyched to watch Colton. Haven't really seen him play. Sub 1,000 rated, but I guess with a huge arm from Colorado.
Yeah, he throws very far. I have seen him play on the course, but not so much on video.
No, I've never seen him on video.
Yeah, so he is a good kid. Going to be fun to watch, especially after seeing a few of these names round after round. Real excited to get a new player on the course. Some storylines we should be following already from the tournament, as some players are already off. Joel Freeman is shooting really hot. He is 6 down through 10. Really looking to make a charge here, establishing himself at the Las Vegas Challenge, obviously, with the 2nd place showing. A lot of people really were introduced to him then.
Yeah, he's catapulted up the charts. He's moved up 13 spots into the top 10 right now.
Wow, okay, and that he is passing guys that are playing at a similar pace, so it's not like he's, jumping the lead card who hasn't quite teed off yet.
Sure.
But as far as people in his same kind of neck of the woods, he's playing very well.
Absolutely. I want to take a second to thank the people that are watching us right now.
Okay.
'Cause I think obviously, there's some other golf tournament going on.
Yeah, some other tournament.
Yeah, and I think unlike a lot of sports, most people don't continue to play football when they're 40 years old.
Absolutely.
And all of us
sport.
still play. Mm-hmm. So we're competing with people playing on the course right now. So
Absolutely.
if you're watching, you're not playing, and thank you for that. So whether your home course is Golden Gate Park or Borderland or somewhere between, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Very appreciative of all of our viewers. I know that I went out and played our weekly this morning. Shouldn't have, because I did not score well, though, Sean.
No, you didn't. You shot over par.
Wish I didn't have to admit that, but I do. Sean, a lot of people think about payouts at these big tournaments. One question I always have is, who are the leaders in payouts? Now, I'd like to touch on that now, but we are going to get straight to our action as Ricky is about to be announced here on our T-pad. So hopefully we can take it away to that soon and get back to those payout conversations a little bit later.
Let's check it out.
As I said, Ricky on the tee, assuming he is going to be throwing that enforcer that he loves so much. Has been pretty dialed on this hole.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he has gone birdie in his last 2 rounds, so really looking to put his foot down and establish some dominance.
First off of the tee.
Garrett, I know, hasn't been on a lot of lead cards past, obviously, but he has that experience. Hard to say how he's going to react if Ricky can really start to put the pressure on early.
Yeah, everyone in this card does not want to see Ricky inside the circle here.
Should be noted, last year, Ricky had the lead coming into the final round, but he did have a kind of subpar finishing. So, interesting to see if he can keep the pressure on today.
Yeah, Simon almost staged one of the greatest comebacks in disc golf history. Just couldn't close it out. Ricky finishing on the circle's edge.
Yeah, I think he's not going to mark that just to take that outside the circle putt.
Gurthie, double G.
Double G next on the tee here. Rocking a glove on one hand, so it is still chilly. Getting that grip. Have to imagine there's a little bit of humidity in the air. Enough precipitation at least to bring some snow down yesterday. Nice, smooth, straight shot. Looking to play that skip up the hill. Looks like he has found himself pretty close to circle's edge. Gonna have a similar putt to Ricky there.
James Conrad.
James Conrad out in shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt. You can tell he is not concerned with the cold. He is pure, focused on throwing shots today.
Yeah, the temperature's 45 degrees. but with the wind chill, it's feeling like 40. So James must run hot.
With that light hair, it's hard not to. Playing that Anheuser release, looking a little bit right, similar to yesterday, does catch that tree, and he's going to have that
Next off for
same
T. Colton
not ideal upshot
Montgomery.
as yesterday. Here is Colton Montgomery, newcomer to the program. See if he can keep up with the big distance guys. Looks like he can.
Just fading a little bit early.
Yeah, gonna find himself close to pin high. We'll see how they treat those putts before we check out this FPO action.
Welcome to the third and final round of the Jonesboro Open presented by Prodiscus. This is your FPO coverage. Paige Pierce with a 6-stroke advantage, and it's not snowing. Pierce, however, putting it just inside the circle pin high to open the round on this 380-foot hole number 1. Katrina Allen, same driver as yesterday, same flight path, and almost landing on top of Pierce. She's looking at a birdie as well. Sarah Holcomb's drive turns over to the left. That's going to be a long outside the circle 2 putt from there. And Jen Allen was running the basket on day 1, and she does it again this round. She's 20 deep. Pierce takes the birdie, just squeaks it in there. Great start for Paige Pierce. Jen Allen's the last one with a birdie look, and it's off the front of the basket. Pierce extends her lead to 7.
Really want to give Terry Miller a big shout out for all that work he is putting in on the FPO side. He is pulling double duty, shooting FPO in the morning, cutting it, commentating, and shooting A-cam for us in the afternoon. An absolute warrior out there on the course.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's got to be one of the hardest working guys in disc golf.
As we see, James Conrad did find himself under that tree. He should have a fairly unobstructed shot up to the pin, but obviously not what you're looking for on hole 1 here at this side of heaven.
No, he's likely to lose at least 1 stroke to someone on the card.
Really struggling to find footing. Looks like he might throw a little Annie sidearm. Obviously not his preferred play, but like you've said in the past, James really has every shot in the bag when he needs it. Wow, was really tucked back in there. Does find himself inside the circle, but some work to do to put that biscuit in the basket.
You know, what a great starting hole. It's playing over par at 3.13. There's been only 10 birdies today, or fewer than 10 birdies.
Wow, 10 birdies. I definitely would think there's a bit more than that, considering it is right in front of you, but that distance and elevation really plays into it.
Yeah, I just think there's certain people that just can't get there.
Yep. Yeah, you have to imagine more than half the field doesn't quite have that 500-foot power. I mean, that is a legitimate touring open player shot.
Absolutely. We've seen very, very few people actually being beyond pin high.
This is true. As we see Colton lining up, he is sitting in a tie for 6th, but remember, some people have played a few holes ahead of him, so take that with a grain of salt. Oh, a little bit low off the cage. Oh my gosh, he almost got a little bit of a bonus roll there. Unfortunately, curled up under the basket.
If this would have taken a right-hand turn, he would have had a significantly longer comebacker.
Garrett Gurthie did come into yesterday. A bit of a slow start. Couldn't quite find the putt. Let's see if he can get it dialed early today.
Yeah, he was 1 over through, I think, 6 holes and then turned it on the back 9.
Again, slow start, drawing air.
Yeah, an air ball from basically 33 feet. You would expect him to at least catch metal.
Absolutely.
I mean, it didn't have enough juice. It was left weak side.
And let's remember his rating. I mean, he is a great player, but he is a 1004 to 1007 maybe rated player, so we could see some regression to the mean eventually. Obviously, he's been playing well above his rating so far this event. We'll see how that plays out today. Ricky lining up a similarly distanced putt about circle's edge. Taking his time, really wants to put it in. Oh, off the basket as well. So, not the hot start we thought we'd see from these guys. Ricky really taking a moment to let that settle in. We may end up seeing 4 pars here, especially if James can put this one in. Obviously thought we'd be seeing a little bit more scoring as the chase card is really lighting it up. Eric Oakley 3 down through 4, Chris Dickerson 3 down through 4 as well, so there is pressure on this lead card. James, ice water running through the veins, no pressure, jams it in for 3. These guys just with a little bit of cleanup crew. We should be moving on to hole 2 shortly.
Yeah, Garrett with a current rating of 1,004, but please take note, he had a rating of the high of 1039, and for several years he was over 1020 into the 1030s.
Wow. Okay, so really take back what I said. He's really rounding back into form at this point.
Yeah, he's a fantastic fantasy pick these days.
Yeah, high value. That's for sure. As Garrett and Rick clean up their birdies, or excuse me, their pars, and we are set to move on to hole 2 after a word from our sponsors.
Back it up.
As we're on the tee of the 820-foot par 4 hole 2, this is playing at 4.46, so half stroke over par. This is definitely one of these guys want to get out without any damage.
Yeah, and so far only 6 birds on the day.
Wow. Ricky putting himself right where he needs to be. Maybe wants a little bit more distance, but really throwing that shot off the tee that you're looking for. We saw a few guys, Eagle and Seppo, try that big Annie shot. Both really found themselves in trouble. Yeah. Ideally, you want the big flat to hyzer off the tee, and then that approach shot where you got to get a little bit of a flex to crest that hill and draw it all the way past up to the basket. Pretty much perfect shot from Garrett right there. Going to be a little bit right side, so might have to throw a bit of a turnover to get to the basket, but hard to ask for much more than that.
Yeah, he's in position to attack the green.
James, one of the longer throwers on tour. We saw a lot of him yesterday. Really throwing, as Sean would say, out of his shoes. Definitely some frames where both his feet are off the ground. It's an absolute joy to watch. And looks like he has, he has made it clean. Yesterday he was suffering from a bit of turnover-itis, we'll call it, where everything was coming out on Annie. I thought that one might have the same fate.
Sure, it could have been the wind too. His drive yesterday obviously just overflipped, landed in the woods, and he was forced to throw, I believe, a forehand cut roller.
Yeah, which was a great shot, actually.
He ended up saving par and not losing any strokes to the group.
Colton letting it rip. This is right up his alley. Just throw that big power hyzer. These guys are going to make their way up to the lie as we check out the FPO action.
Hole number 2, 605 feet. Paige Pierce with a 7-stroke advantage. There were 3 pars and the birdie to open on hole 1. Pierce is going to play that tight to the left side, and she's left with this uphill run up, and she's going to hang that one out beautifully to the right side, bring herself right next to the pin. Jen Allen has got a birdie look here on hole number 2. Oh, and right off the front of the basket, exact copy of what we saw in the first hole. Pierce with the lone birdie. She picks up another stroke on the card and extends herself to a 10-stroke lead.
So, Sean, I want to get back to this career earnings talk. One thing, a lot of our new players kind of assume that Paul Macbeth, obviously the career leader in earnings, but that's not true, right, Sean?
It is not. I think if you've been around the game for a long time, you might suspect that Kenny, the champ, is on top, and he is.
This makes sense.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people might not know who number 2 is all time.
Huh. Okay, number 2 to Kenny. Interesting. Okay, so
And it's not Paul.
it is, just to confirm, it is not Paul.
Yeah, Paul will likely take over, I think, within
If he can
one,
have,
maybe 1 year.
I was gonna say, but if
actually.
he can have that sustained career too, he could really establish.
Oh,
himself as
yeah,
part
I
of
think
it.
I project him he'll be the first one to get over $500,000.
So, anybody, if you do know that answer, we will get to that here in a sec. How we can get involved. Colton Montgomery throwing that flex shot up the hill, looking to get that distance up by the pin. Looks like he does have it. He is inside the circle with a pretty solid putt.
Yeah, that'll work.
Very makeable. Ricky lining up his shot from the base of the hill, looking to match Colton. Keep that pressure on as we see our gallery looking on. Got some nice action on it. Is going to find himself right side. Again, close to circle's edge. Similar putt as hole 1. Obviously a little bit flatter putting green though. We see Jerry and Jonathan from Jomez Productions on the right side of your screen really putting in work, all bundled up. If you think it's bad for the players out here when it's cold, they're moving around, they're throwing, they're getting the blood pumping. The media guys, we're just standing there.
Oh, no, you guys have it the worst, especially when it's raining.
Oh, there's very few things worse than rainy, windy weather when you have a camera in your hand. James Conrad throwing what I would assume is an MD4. Could be his Shark 3, though.
So he got way up there.
He did. Hard to say. Looks to be, actually it does look to be a driver in his hand. Could be that T-Bird. I do know his bag pretty well, but difficult to see from this angle. Really has to rip it over, though. Fortunately, looking like it did dig into the ground there a little bit. He's going to be upping for his par. Obviously, another slow start like yesterday. Not what James wanted, but plenty of golf left and plenty of long golf left for him to make some ground back up.
Yeah, like you said, not the start he wanted specifically and especially because we have Eric Oakley and Chris Dickerson 3 down through the first 5 holes and moved up to 20 down.
Wow, so Eric Oakley is, yeah, Chris Dickerson sitting at 20, Eric Oakley at 21, really making these guys work. Eric Oakley right now in sole possession of second place. Again, a few holes ahead of these guys, so do take that with a grain of salt, but something to monitor as this round continues. Garrett forced into a pretty aggressive turnover shot. Really has to contest with those trees. Looking like he lost that battle. Like we said, Oakley and Dickerson really making the big move. We see Joel Freeman down there popping into our top 10 at an 8 down through 12. That is hot.
Yeah, he's by far the one that's advanced the most on the charts.
Yeah, he has officially moved up 15 places from 23rd into that tie for 8th. AJ Risley, Eagle McMahon, Dave Felberg always also have a few holes to go to really make up that gap. But
and Joel with a big arm on both the backhand and forehand.
This is true.
Which will really help on those last 4 holes.
A true two-way player.
Yes, absolutely.
Garrett Gurthie, or James Conrad, excuse me, he's going to be the first to approach. Didn't quite get that distance up the hill. He's going to have a long stepper.
He did not, but he's famous for making putts like this.
Absolutely. Really loves to walk them out, get that big walk on water, slow run up there. It's beautiful.
He is the disc golf prophet.
Putting with his own stamp on his JK AVR, got to be a satisfying feeling. As the gallery watches, flag barely moving. Wow, we definitely, that looked like it was chain high and in the plane there.
Yeah, the height looked good. Looked like it just faded out early. Missed it, weak side left.
Yep, we'll have not too much work, maybe about a 16-footer coming back. It's pretty routine for these guys. Looks to me like it might be Garrett on that left side. Didn't quite get enough right action on that turnover from the fairway.
Yeah, Garrett was the CTP off the tee. And now, outside the circle, let's see if he can correct his putt from hole 1.
And that was a theme yesterday, too, where he was big D off of the tee pad. Big D off the tee, if you will. But unfortunately can't quite convert with these shorter upshots. Oh, man, just not quite dialed in again. Now, he did take the couple bogeys yesterday, got off to that slow start, 1 over through 6, was able to turn it around, though, especially at the end, where he did rattle off 5 birdies in a row.
He did. And
to put himself back into contention.
And he could have been 4 down through 5 holes.
Absolutely.
He actually missed a pretty routine putt for eagle on 16.
Ricky looks to clean up what is actually pretty close to being inside the circle. Pretty routine, and he is able to convert that 3 and extend his lead to 2 strokes now over Eric Oakley and 3 over Garrett Gurthie. Hopefully Colton here. See Monty on Instagram. Actually, like a pseudo-touring partner with Kona right now. I think they're traveling together. Great putt.
Nice birdie. So with those 2 birdies, it's still like about 10 people in the whole field only converted this hole.
Yeah, so that is extremely small percentages. We have James still here to clean up his 4. Shouldn't be too much problem for him. He did blow by the basket a little bit on that aggressive bid from outside the circle. Hopefully he can smooth, and we can move on. James rocking that Innova Hero pack. Yep, good hit. Extremely consistent putter inside the circle. Has a really good job of getting that straight line to the basket. Garrett taps out, and we are all prepped to move on to hole 3, 435 feet after this. Ricky here looking to let it go on this very reachable par 3, 435-foot hole number 3. Has left it left side. A common fate for players in this hole, as it is a pretty big valley, easy to hyzer out. Colton hopefully can keep pace. Very compact stroke he has, man. That'll work. He's going to sit about circle's edge, maybe just outside, but he's got a viable putt with what looks to be a bit of a tailwind, so he can really jam it in there.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to attack the basket from that angle, and hole 3 playing essentially right at par.
Okay, surprising to not see more birdies, as it isn't very forable hole, other than maybe 3 putts or something kooky.
So there's pretty much an exact distribution of birdies versus bogeys, with about 25% of each one and the other half getting par.
Okay, that makes sense. Garrett putting himself in great position to convert that birdie, looking to be about 14 to 17 feet out. Hopefully that's what you called one of those confidence building putts from yesterday.
Like yesterday, yeah. Because so far he's his first 2 putts. Sometimes when you play, you're not putting, you're throwing at the basket and hoping it goes in.
Absolutely.
And there's a difference, right?
Yeah. Oh, certainly. You're trying to get next to the basket. One thing I think players will do a lot is they'll try to throw that hyzer, but the hyzer angle will be straight at the basket. They'll end up 40 feet left. Important to really play the whole shot there. James lacing it up the middle is going to be in position for that birdie. We'll see if our FPO can score as Terry breaks it down.
Hole number 3, 310 feet, a musket birdie. We've seen plenty here over the last few days. Pierce with a stand-up shot. It's fading back toward the pin and just misses the basket. A few other drives were short. Both Jennifer Allen and Sarah Holcomb were short and right. Katrina's on the right side inside the circle for birdie. And off the front of the basket. We've seen it so many times already. Everyone might be running out of energy. We're seeing a light blow of the flag. It's chilly this morning, but not snowing like yesterday. Pierce starts with a turkey. She's 3 for 3 and further extends her lead as the rest of the group par. She has an 11-stroke advantage.
Looks like Ricky is the furthest outside and will be putting first. Hard to tell if he's going to have the obstructed footing from that tree. Oh, it looks to be... Okay, he's taken his 1.5 meters from that barbed wire on the left.
And in this scenario, that's extraordinarily helpful.
Oh, yeah, it's straight to the basket. I mean, a lot of times it'll be, you know, a side to the basket won't really make that much of a difference.
Right.
But this, you're straight up cutting down putting distance.
And, you know, roughly 3 feet versus roughly 5 feet is a big difference.
That's the difference between a caged putt and a dead center. Ricky kind of forced into this straddle look with those branches off to his left side. Wow, big putt. That was in the air for forever.
And he knows it.
Yes, he was
big
running that one
fist
down.
bump. Because it's looking like he might have, you know, there could be a star frame on this hole. And he could lose a stroke to everyone in the group.
Absolutely.
And he says no.
Yeah, that was a huge moment right there for Rick. You know he wants to get it started and keep that pressure on because there are a host of other players. Eric Oakley, one of them, now moving to 4 down through 6 that are chasing Ricky down here. Wow. Colton, committed putt, spinning it right at the basket. I think Discmania just picks spin putters. That's what they sponsor.
And also, that was in the air for a long time.
Yeah, that was definitely circle's edge, if not or outside, you know.
Now let's see if these guys can avoid getting big putted. I know I have a problem with it.
It is a syndrome. I know I have a big problem getting big putted by you. Oh, no.
Garrett.
Oh, no. Garrett, get that hand up. That was that confidence builder we were looking for him to hit. Tell me when. I'm sitting here thinking. Colty, James Conrad unfortunately did miss that putt. Him and Gurthie being big putted by Colton and Ricky. Here is Colton getting himself out into the fairway on this par 4, 630 feet. Hole 4 is playing, I have to imagine, over par, as a lot of these are.
Just over par, Corey.
Okay.
And just like the last hole, a very good distribution of birdie, par, and bogey at roughly 25% for the under and over, and about half the field getting par.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, this hole, while it isn't too far, does have the trouble off the tee that it looks like Garrett has found. Clipped that tree and dropped him straight down. Really, you get the two choices. Opt for the tunnel straight ahead of the tee or that hyzer that Garrett was trying for there. Looks like James is going to play that tunnel shot. He is a brilliant woods player out of Virginia, so he is not scared of hitting any gaps.
Absolutely.
Great word choice there, Sean. I really appreciate the diction. Oh no, he's fluffed it up in the air a little bit. All of these, wow, okay. Definitely getting some trouble there on that left side, and not the start we would like to see from our competitors here. See if the FPO can get off the tee clean.
Hole number 4, a par 4, 630 feet. Pierce sitting with 11-stroke lead over second and 12 over fourth. Hits the tree on the left side. She's got work to do.
Oh, Paigey, come on.
Oh, Paigey, she says. That's carrying hard left. Her sponsor keen, but she's jumping the wall and finds herself out of bounds. Jennifer Allen's drive puts her here. She's got an easy approach, but lets it go early. Also jumps over the wall. She's out of bounds. Paige with not her best layup into that headwind. Meanwhile, Katrina with another birdie looking off the front again. Katrina needs to get that putt lifted. And Allen still saves the par with a great putt. She walks away with a 4. Paige makes it high and tight, but she takes the bogey. She's still 2 down with a 10-stroke advantage.
As we join Garrett on the fairway, we are going to tune into Macbeth Watch 2018. He has dropped 4 positions today into a tie for 21st place. He is 2 down and has 3 bogeys already today. A bit of a roller coaster. We're going to see if he can scramble his way up to better than 20th, which is his worst finish in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Last year when someone said, it was Ricky's year, and Paul had a quote-unquote bad year, but his worst finish last year was 4th.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and that was in Nantucket at a tournament. That's a great event, great island, great
But a vacation
TV.
tournament.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And then besides that, he pretty much was podium across the board.
Yeah, so if he does not really get it into gear, he really only has a handful of holes left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he is through 11 holes, so he only has a handful of holes left to really establish himself back into that Macbeth positioning that we're so used to seeing.
It's kind of amazing how little we've talked about him at this event, considering he just came off a win.
Absolutely. Throw down the mountain, he shredded it. He played, I think, above his rating, 1060, 1065
yeah,
golf all
1060
weekend.
plus, yep. And even that 20th place finish that you're referring to from the 2016 USDGC was...
Rain shortened, of course. That was the year that Big Germ was able to take it down after 3 rounds. The lightning really playing into effect that year. So if he is to stay in his place right now, 21st, it will be his worst finish over the last 4 years, or 3 years, excuse me. Conrad upping from the left side of the fairway definitely has some distance to get. Oh no, and he has found OB long of the basket. James needs to get this back. His JK AVR just sliding out OB. Whew, not what you want to start, absolutely. Hard to forget that it is 40 degrees out there, though.
Well, maybe he should put on a layer.
This is true.
I mean, after missing a relatively routine putt, that is the last thing he wanted to happen.
Yeah, Colton right here in pretty good positioning. Can see the basket in front of him. Just a pretty basic hyzer up to the pin. coming in nicely, but a little hot. And only if that wall extended the rest of the way, James would have been saved.
Right.
Colton really getting benefited from that Keen wall being
Yeah,
there.
Colton should thank our sponsor Keen there.
I think we just did for him, and that should be enough. We definitely will have some action on this green. Wysocki maintaining that one-stroke lead. Eric Oakley 5 down through 7. Joel Freeman 9 down through 13. Those are really our big stories off of this card. Really not taking into account Macbeth maybe not playing quite as hot as we'd expect him to.
And Eric is, relatively new, on the scene.
For sure.
His PDJ number is over 50,000. I don't think he has any podium finishes for an NT major pro tour. He obviously does at some smaller events.
Yeah, he won Fort Steliacum, I know, and I think at Texas States he had a pretty good showing. He was on the footage at least for those lead cards.
He had a few top 10s last year in some big events.
Okay.
But right now in second place, this would be a career moment for him.
Really, like a Nate Perkins scenario at Waco.
Yeah, I would say that's similar.
Like a coming out party, really establish himself not only as a great disc golf brand, the Whale Pants tour that him and Tina Stenitis have, but really as a legitimate disc golf force on the tour.
100%. You would say that he might have a high Q rating as it relates to celebrities.
I would say Eric Oakley is definitely well above his rating in star power. You can see James really committing to the jacket on, jacket off strategy that he was using yesterday. Maybe you might want to go with some pants on, pants off, rather than the shorts that he has opted for.
Well, no one at home even knows if you're wearing pants, Corey.
That's the beauty of a desk, Sean. Beauty of a desk. Colton looking to put it in. Really, we're all waiting for the dream to end. That was an air ball. Hard to tell if he is going to ride this one out or that carriage will turn into a pumpkin at some point.
I mean, that would have been 3 really big putts in a row. So it's not surprising that he didn't convert that one. James needing this to stay even on this hole and even for the round.
Yeah, definitely would think it was a scoreable hole at only 630 feet. Pretty routine shots off the tee and approaching the basket. Last year we saw a lot of folks almost giving it a run for 2. They were getting so far down the fairway.
Sure, an interesting course design here in that they decided to put the sponsored OB wall on the left, which would favor the early fade.
Absolutely, rather than the
versus,
straight.
Yeah, versus someone that's challenging this hole for eagle.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Something to consider is where those walls are if it isn't circling the entire green. As we saw Garrett slip out just barely OB on hole 6 island hole yesterday. Good hit.
Well done.
Such a committed putter. You can never tell if he's in or out because his putts are always just drilling it in there.
Ricky looking for a turkey right here.
Is able to convert. That is 3 out of 4 to start. Puts him 2 strokes over Eric Oakley, 4 strokes over Feldberg, 5 strokes over Colton, and he is effectively running away with this.
Let's hope not.
There we go.
I mean, we all love Rick, right? But
for the drama.
It's always more fun when it's close down the finish.
Absolutely. We're not saying we don't want Rick to win. We're saying we want a close finish. There you have it. 2 birdies, 2 pars. About the scoring average as we move on to hole 5 shortly after this. standing on the tee of hole 5. There has only been 3 birdies here. Really, you got to think Rick's pure layup mode. No sense to put yourself in position for the bogey by getting a little squirrely off the tee. We have seen Nate Sexton take a deuce on this. We have seen a few others really try and get aggressive. Jacob Henson, big household name, and Christopher Meyer, as all of our fans do know. He's got big power.
Yeah, and you got to think that Nate went for this just because of the position that he was in.
Sure. I mean, if you're trying to make up strokes, this is one of those holes where you can really make up strokes.
Like Garrett has to be going for this, although yesterday he threw the straight shot.
Exactly, but I think that hyzer is better, especially for guys who have big power. It looks like he has found that OB, though. You can really see the risk-reward playing out. I have yet to see somebody make it to the green off the tee, and I think we've had three birdies today. There was 2 birdies another day.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely less than 10 for 3 full rounds on this one.
Yeah, the birdie is almost an eagle, right?
Yeah.
As it plays against the fields. Rather safe shot from Colton here.
Yeah, I think sitting in 5th place, 5 strokes behind Ricky, it's tough to ask yourself to go up and beat him by 5 from here on out. So I have to imagine we're going to see some fairly safe play, some position golf out of Colton and
James looks to be lining up the straight shot,
which he throws that flexi straight shot really, really well. So if there's anyone that can peer it all the way down that gap and get around that tree that we're contending with,
and birdie free, he needs to make a move.
495 feet downhill.
Oh yeah.
Low flats. Looks like it does have the juice to carry down there.
Oh yeah.
Perfect shot. He is going to be maybe 20 feet from the pin, looking at his birdie too. Great shot. Let's see how the FPO was able to play this.
345 feet for hole number 5 with danger everywhere. Stream in the middle of the fairway, a pond to the right, trees on the left. Jen Allen picks her poison and unfortunately finds the water. Katrina's flips hard. It's going to fight back toward the inbounds but doesn't get there. She'll be out of bounds, both her and Jennifer heading to the drop zone. And there's no laying up on Paige Pierce's schedule. And she goes past the pin. She'll have a look. Jen Allen from the drop zone got to there. She'll take a double bogey. Pierce can't make the birdie putt. Oh, and Sarah Holcomb doesn't make the par putt. And Katrina's short again. Front basket. Let's get it going.
After that extremely unfortunate putting scenario from our FPO field, we are going to see Colton throwing his second shot up to the pin. From this landing zone, it really is a pretty routine upshot. That's why you're going to see a lot of these guys opting not to play that dangerous shot that we saw James just.
I mean, with only
execute.
3 birdies on the day, you have to play the math. Unless you need strokes, which Ricky does not,
and that
you just do that.
Exactly, and he's not losing strokes to, at this point, really anyone else that's in contention. James,
he looks like he's playing pretty loose. He's got a big smile on his face.
It is not often you see Rick with a smile. I'll say he is all business.
Yeah, I've talked to some pros, and one thing they say about Rick is that he actually does not talk really at all.
No, he says his score, and he says his score, and he grumbles to himself.
Yes,
those
numbers.
are the only 2 things.
His language is numbers.
Mm-hmm. Garrett throwing his upshot to a very reasonable spot. We will see once we get down to this green if James Conrad is able to convert. So, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to that player earnings chat, we know Ken Climo, number 1 earner.
Number 1.
Paul Macbeth, not number 2. But we want from you, who is the number 2 earner in career PDGA earnings? Please head over to my Instagram account, @JohnnyDiscGolf. Comment on my latest photo who you think the number 2 career earnings in PDGA is. First person that gets that correctly will
What do they win, Corey?
My pin and this beautiful San Francisco Open stamped Innova Pink Rat. Newly released disc, and I believe the first official stamped Rats.
No, that's not true. One of the first.
I said I believed it, not that it was a fact. Anyway, guys, head over to my Instagram at Johnny Disc Golf. Put in your vote on my
Let's
latest
see if
picture, and
James
I will
Conrad
contact you shortly.
Can convert this essential kind of an eagle.
Yeah, certainly feels like an eagle and certainly plays like an eagle relative to the field. Great putt. I feel like I knew that was going in. I don't know why. He has been cold. He missed that last putt on hole 4.
But he made a nice putt for par.
This is true.
For a 4P.
This is true.
And he needed it. I mean, oddly. I mean, I guarantee there's no one that was their first birdie of the day.
Wow, Colton.
Oh, Colton, good drive, good upshot, and just can't convert. I wonder if that's lead card jitters there.
I mean, he's banged a couple big
Yeah,
ones
that's
already,
true.
so it's hard to blame it on that.
But the 2 putts he's missed have been short.
This is true, yes. Garrett Gurthie there tapping in his par. Oh, excuse me,
Bogey.
his bogey after the OB drive. He did throw a pretty good upshot from that drop zone. Everybody else just with a bit of cleanup work to do. Rick tapping in the par, Colton tapping in the unfortunate bogey. Kind of different ways to skin a cat. We see the 2 bogeys, the birdie, and the par as we move on to hole 6. Ricky entering in the last scores for that round. Really kind of a unique process with UDisc out there live. It's interesting back and forth. The people inputting the data really have to be on the ball as far as where these players are relative to the basket, especially on all the throw-ins and the long putts. Sometimes they do have to approach the player though and kind of ask the unfortunate questions like, was that OB or?
Oh yeah, or like, that was a 6, right?
Never a fun.
I mean,
question
I don't
to
like
ask.
doing that when I play with a regular scorecard.
No, we'll see if James can continue this hot streak on this 315-foot hole 6 par 3.
That needs to
Sneak
flex
over
back.
there. There is a good chance I might find that gap. Ooh. And the gallery approves. That is that hole that Garrett Gurthie found himself sliding through.
Unbelievable.
In really just a shocking turn of events. I didn't see it there beforehand.
Yeah, that's what put him 1 over through the first 6. And this hole is interesting. I mean, this hole, only 17% of the field is getting par.
It really does strike me as that 2 or a 4. Either you're making the green and throwing your putt, as Ricky does cut this a little bit low.
Ooh. That was short.
That was short, but it's hard to say because the wall is not technically the line. There is a marked line there. I've seen a couple of events where something was on the outside of the wall, but inbounds. That happened at the Memorial Eric Oakley. Kind of an interesting set of circumstances there. He ended up taking 3 provisionals on 1 hole.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, 3. That's got to be the world record.
I was thinking the same thing. He put like 4 different variations. It was crazy.
My favorite is when you throw a provisional, you make 1 really good putt, not a good putt, and it doesn't matter because you get the same score.
Absolutely. that he had like 3 different 4s.
Yeah, where you don't have to talk to the TD afterwards.
Garrett, you can see really erring on that left side, maybe a little gun shy after that turnover shot yesterday, was able to slip out of bounds.
Let's see if Colton can get back on track.
Sitting in a tie for 7th, 19 down. Seems to have good action on that turnover shot. No reason to miss the island here. We do not have official confirmation on Ricky's, but I think it's safe to assume he is going to be throwing from that drop zone. We are going to go ahead and follow. We are going to go ahead and follow them up to the drop zone, see Ricky's shot, and then show you how the FPO division played this hole. Ricky obviously has to be frustrated with that. Good chance he is going to lose 2 strokes to this card.
Yeah, this is kind of what the audience wanted, right?
Yeah, no, a bit of a fallback to reality.
Yeah.
I mean, we need as far as some drama, some late action fireworks, we need some strokes to be getting over to the field. Nice little upshot there with what you have to imagine is his harp, and he's going to have easy breezy cleanup there as we transition to our FPO.
315 feet downhill for hole number 6. Yesterday we saw 3 OB tee shots and the birdie by Holcomb. Today, Pierce turns over, bank shot, finds the water. She's out of bounds. Sarah Holcomb plays it wide to her left, bringing it back in with the hyzer. No metal hit, but she's inside the circle looking at a birdie. Jennifer Allen riding the waves, coming in hot, and hits the backstop, keeping her inside birdie range. Katrina's turns over, hits the tree, slows it down. Middle of the water, she's out of bounds. Paige moves to the drop zone and pins it. She'll have a drop-in bogey. Katrina, not enough power. She's out of bounds. She's going to...
We have Conrad on the green just in front of that entrance gate, lining up the 2-putt to take 2 strokes off of Ricky. Oh no, straight into the cage, and you know he is frustrated. The question I have for you, Sean, what does it take to transition from 2 names to 1? Paul, Ricky, James Conrad. What does he need to do to be James?
I gotta tell you, well, my whole life, I don't think anyone's ever called me Sean.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I'm dead serious.
That's the curse of 2 first names.
I mean, going back to first grade, it would be, and this is my old accent, Peta, Polly, Sean Jack.
No. As Colton does sneak that one over the rim, not to take away from the action on the course.
I would say it might take World Championship.
Is that what it is? Kenny,
Paul, Ricky,
yeah,
Avery,
yeah. Ricky.
No, that was Garrett not converting the birdie.
Out. Wow, so Colton, the only one able to take 2 strokes. The rest of the card here, gonna just take the 1. You have to assume, that is going in. Wow, not the putting display we'd expect to see from our lead card. Garrett cannot get off the schneid right now. He can't score. As you see, the 1 birdie, the 1 bogey, the 2 pars, a disappointing hole 6 from our lead card as we take you on to hole 7.
Let's forget about the car for a moment. Your local Next Gen qualifiers are all fun entry-level PDGA sanctioned C tiers. There are 3 ratings-based divisions, creating a competitive environment for beginners all the way up to amateurs aspiring to become professionals. Don't forget to sign up for the Next Gen Virtual Challenge. You get to play locally and see how you rank nationally. Don't miss out.
Getting back to the action on hole 7, the 615-foot par 4. This is a big distance off the tee with a pretty routine upshot if you can find yourself in the landing zone. Colton looking to throw that big hyzer. Set himself up for that left to right approach. Really, that tree that he is just to the right of is the one thing that you want to avoid as far as getting off the tee. You see James with the just nutty run up. I'm not a big fan of running from different, like having to run up or down to get to the tee pad.
Yeah, I'm not either. I tend if it's just like if you have a bad drive, and you have to run down.
Yeah.
It tends to make your disc want to go down.
Sure, and in this one, he might be throwing it up. Oh, or you just get all of yourself into it and crush it.
Yeah, hole 7 playing second easiest today.
Which makes sense. It's
Yeah.
pretty. I would imagine it's one of the more scoreable holes out here.
Yeah, there's only 10% of the field is actually getting a bogey or worse.
Okay, and it is playing at 3.63 average, so that is plenty of birdies to be had. Garrett definitely not wanting to lose any more ground to the field. He needs to start hitting these inside the circle putts.
Already missing 2 and 1 just outside.
So he is putting himself in position off the tee. Garrett, not the action he wants. That is drifting right. At 615 feet, though, as long as you get yourself into a clear spot where you have relatively stable footing, you should be able to get up and down.
Mm-hmm. And Ricky, back of the box for what might be the first time all weekend.
Yeah, for the entire event.
That is his first bogey.
First bogey of the weekend, and it came on such a birdieable hole. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he just ripped his forehand too low.
Yep, he is in the pretty perfect landing zone as we check out our FPO division playing this one out.
Thanks, guys, and welcome to hole number 7, where we'll pick up with the third shots on this long par 4, coming in at 615 feet, slightly uphill. Sarah opts for the backhand approach. Katrina puts it right next to the pin. She's outside circle 2. Paige has a long look at a putt, but is strong right side. And the best chance at birdie is Jennifer Allen. Paige has a little comebacker high and tight, but she makes it. She'll walk away with a par. Sarah Holcomb has a short putt, cleaning up the par. Jennifer Allen and Katrina Allen tap in. That's a star par. We're through 7.
As we find ourselves on the fairway, we are going to take a moment to catch up with Macbeth's round and a few others. Something that should be noted, Macbeth has rattled off 4 birdies in a row to bring him back up to a 17th place standing right now, which is what he came into the day with. Obviously less spectacular than he was hoping, I'm sure, but Sean, what are some of the notable scores?
Well, Joel Freeman, he's 10 down through 15 holes with hole 16 in front of him, which is an eagleable hole. So he, in theory, could be 12 down after this hole. And he's certainly got the arm to birdie both 17 and 18.
This is true.
So we might see him squeeze into a 5th, 6th, 7th place finish.
That's a great finish for a guy who isn't necessarily known for those real big podium finishes at these events. James Conrad here, busting out either his MD4 or his Shark 3. Definitely a mid-range shot from here, though. Looking for that left to right draw out of his hand. Have to expect that. I believe that is a Shark 3, as that is running right next to the basket. MD4 wouldn't quite have that bite on it late.
Yeah, and the gallery's liking that hole, liking that shot rather.
Ricky definitely having to contest with this tree, but he is a forehand dominant player, or I should say a dominant forehand player, and he definitely has the prowess to...
Let's see if he can get his foot, within 3 feet of his lie
he's
there.
not running up this time, so I think he should be safe. Opting to go left side of the tree, bring it all the way back, has put himself right inside that tree line, so you know it's in the circle. Should be carding the birdie 3 shortly.
Good bounce back from the bogey on 6.
So important to really come back and get that stroke right back. It's so often you get that bogey, you get the bad blues, and then you find yourself with a par streak after that, and then all juice is gone. Colton, obviously not where you want to be. Really the one bad landing zone.
Yeah, just that one tree it prevents you for pretty routine up and down for these guys.
Oh, catches the limb, is going to cut out. Oh my goodness, it will not stop. Yeah, kind of just burning it straight into the ground. Tough to say if there wasn't anything right into his face, forcing him to throw. Kind of, an not preferred line. Regardless, he is going to have work to do still to get up for his par.
And if you're enjoying our Sunday coverage, please share it.
Please share. Yeah, I can't say that enough. All the folks out there who are watching, please share it. Give shout outs to whoever you feel is doing a great job, or maybe even not so great of a job. As long as you are talking, that is viable.
Yeah, all press is good, as they say, right?
Yep.
And just some fun facts about our coverage, Corey.
Yeah, hit me.
So, average view watch time last year at the Jonesboro Open?
Yes?
32 minutes.
Okay. That seems less than 4 hours.
That is less than 4 hours.
Okay, just to confirm.
Yep. Same as you are. James Conrad is taller than you.
Yes.
Average watch time this year, up 25% to 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, someone who knows the back end a little bit, that is a very legitimate increase. 25% on an average viewer. That's factoring in people clicking off in 1 second.
And some people just watching the whole stream.
Exactly. So a 40 minutes, really shout out to our viewers for sticking around.
Yes, thank you.
Just an honor to be part of this off-site coverage for the first time. We saw good upshot there, putting him next to the basket. All these guys really with not too much trouble here. They should be inside the circle. We'll see. I believe Rick might have the farthest putt, or Colton on that back side. Looks like Rick will just go ahead and finish up. Ooh, a little high, but, you know, he's in biz.
In.
As I check my UDisc live scoring, something to keep an eye on. Eagle McMahon has gone off and birdied 5 of his last 7 holes. He is going to be 5 down through 10, sitting in a tie for 3rd place as Garrett taps in his birdie 3. Eagle definitely have that firepower to bring it at the end. Joel Freeman does take that 4 on the par 5, 16. Colton able to finish up his par.
That was a good save from.
It was a good save after
poor
that.
second shot.
Yes, yes, and not only the poor second shot, but the poor action after the second shot.
Right, the slope of the course really showed there.
There you have it, 3 birdies and a par as we move on to hole 9, par 4, 750 feet.
20% bogeys and above, and 60% par.
So, excuse me, I mentioned hole 9 earlier. We are on hole 8, the 324-foot left to right hole. Pretty extreme angle. Does have to play around that natural OB. I really am a fan of natural OB rather than kind of roped off stuff. Things that give you the half stroke of just being right behind a tree.
You know, I would say absolutely, but I'm not going to.
I appreciate that, Sean.
So 100%. 100%.
Okay. You can confidently say that you agree with that?
Yes.
James not liking the shot. Gives that signature snap.
And it seems like a forehand's delight on this hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much more difficult angle to attack with the mid-ranger putter right-hand backhand.
And James does have great command on that JK AVR, but obviously, you know, a bit forcing the line there. Garrett sawing one off is in trouble as well.
And the only mistake you can't do on this hole. Like, there's no reason to try to barely miss the tree.
Throw it wide and hit a 20-footer coming back instead of risking being all up in there. So we see Rick putting a little bit of turn before that hyzering back is going to be clean. Should be right exactly where I said he should just play to.
Yeah. And he's got the confidence to make that putt versus, you know, barely shaving the left side of the tree and being parked. I think this is the first sidearm we've seen from Colton today.
Well, except for that tragic upshot on the last hole.
Oh, right.
does obviously have a totally functional sidearm. That is wide. It's going to be a little bit low of the pin, but with that raised basket, oh, what is that, PD2 he's flicking out there? It is. We are going to check out how our FPO division played it.
324 feet, turnover shot for a righty backhand. Star par on the previous hole. Sarah Holcomb sets up for this one, but turns it over. That's the forehand. This was her hole. She was ready to go. She's out in the field. Jennifer Allen plays it way wide. Comes in, skips just inside circle one. She's got a putt from 32 feet. Paige Pierce's turns over early, finds the same set of wood she was in yesterday. She walked away with a triple bogey in round number 2. She's looking to clean things up. Katrina's in circle 2. Long look at bird from there. Paige fights her way out, just on the edge, but Jennifer Allen makes it. That's a birdie for Allen. Paige cleans up 3 strokes from the previous round. She walks away with the par. She still has a 10-stroke lead.
Garrett lining up what looks to be a pretty untraditional putting approach. That patent pending from about 65 feet, as it does look like he is inside circle 2, most likely just upping to the base of the basket. Put it in the air at least to give it a chance, but hard to ask for much.
No, when you throw a drive like that, you just know you're getting par.
Wow, you can see exactly how guarded that is, especially approaching the pin. Looks like that little like pine tree cluster. It's pretty nasty.
Like yesterday, has he found another gap? Not to attack the basket.
And I did hear kind of in his audio yesterday, he laid up a few after the bogey on this one. He says, I ain't doing that again. So he has learned from his mistakes, puts himself next to the basket, and just move on to the next one.
Colton here from 50. Is he going to go for this? I mean, it is slightly uphill.
And he does have that nose-up spin putt that does, is nice for this. Oh, definitely running it, unfortunately, coming up short, bouncing off of that Disc Golf Pro Tour raised basket. Ricky looking to gain a stroke on the card that he lost on that par 3 hole 6. Puts it in.
To go up by 5 on the card.
Wow. Okay, now, should be noted, Eric Oakley only chasing 2, but is 3 holes ahead of him. So, not a true 2-stroke deficit, but something definitely to keep your eye on as we move forward. Garrett cleaning up the 3, and we should see 2 more tap-ins. James Conrad rocking that pink FPO tag on his bag still. We are moving on to hole 9 shortly after Wysocki takes another one off the card.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
Let's forget about the car for a moment. Your local next-gen qualifiers are all fun entry-level PDGA sanctioned C tiers. There are 3 ratings-based divisions, creating a competitive environment for beginners all the way up to amateurs aspiring to become professionals. Don't forget to sign up for the Next Gen Virtual Challenge. You get to play locally and see how you rank nationally. Don't miss out.
Getting back to the tee of hole 9, we do see Ricky with that 5-stroke lead over any of his card mates. Ricky sitting at 26 down, James Conrad 21 down, Garrett Gurthie 21 down, and Colton Montgomery at 20 down.
Hole 9 playing half a stroke over par for the field. There's only been about 10 birdies today.
And that does make sense. It's very techy. Off the tee, you're really trying to throw that flip up to flat shot, really picking a side of that tree dead center in the fairway. Both sides are viable, both left and right. Just got to make a decision because being dead center under it, not ideal. The upshot to the pin is pretty technical. So I think if you want that sidearm approach, you'd prefer to be on the left side of the tree. And then the backhand, if you want that sidearm approach, right side of the tree.
Right, and then
backhand,
the opposite.
left side of the tree. James crushing that destroyer out as far as he can, looking for that left side. Make it a more reasonable approach on that turnover backhand into the basket.
That looks like he landed in a preferable spot.
Yeah. Looks pretty solid. Should have a pretty routine up. Well, at least as routine as it gets on this hole, as it is one of the tougher ones in the field. Garrett Gurthie with, obviously, the power necessary to get it all the way down there. Hard to know if he's going to opt for that left or right gap, as he did throw the sidearm approach to the basket yesterday. The under the arm crush. Looks like he has opted for the left side of the tree as it is hyzering back into prime real estate. He is going to have a pretty routine upshot. That angle of the green, though, does wreak havoc on backhands if it is hyzering out early. Colton, really step one, just make the gap. Which he does, and looks to be flaring out left. Just gotta miss that tree. And he is right where he needs to be, pretty much in line with that tree. We will follow these guys up the fairway. Check out this.
Sarah Holcomb sitting 10 back. Jennifer Allen 11 back. We're here on hole number 9, the par 5. Here's the third shot. This time Sarah Holcomb's not in the trees on her third shot as she was the last 2 days. Allen from one knee gets it to sit down. Jen laying it up. She's right next to the basket. And what's this? Paige Pierce, a layup? With that many strokes to give, Paige Pierce, a layup? We see pair of birdies. And it looks like Sarah Holcomb's going to make it 3 for 3. And Paige can tap in for a birdie. We have 4 birdies here on hole number 9. Playing that one perfectly. We'll head to the back.
So, catching up with a few of our other competitors out on the course, Peter McBride is bogey-free right now, staying extremely clean, has moved himself up into a tie for 10th with a 7 down through 15. Obviously, he has the par 5 16, the really nasty par 4 17, and 18 to go.
Hardest hole in the course to finish.
But if he can finish clean and maybe play it 1 or 2 down between the 3, he is going to be in great position to secure a top 10. One of his better finishes out here on tour.
Absolutely. That was for you, Corey.
I appreciate it. Other than that, we have Emerson Keith at a clean 5 down. Drew Gibson should be noted 8 down with a bogey, so his power really coming into play today. Unfortunately, didn't quite get on track the first 2 rounds. Nate Sexton coming in at 6 down with 2 bogeys early, but was able to reel off 7 birdies in the last 10 holes to really salvage that round. Paul Macbeth caught a bogey on the par 3 hole 15. Hole 14. That kind of corkscrew up right to left hole, but was able to birdie right after that. So he is sitting at 4 down, back in a tie for 19th. As Ricky is attempting to find his shot, it looks like he has hyzered out into what some would call the heart of darkness. This looks miserable to throw an upshot from.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. It's apparent that he will not be birdieing this hole.
He did hit the basket from a crazy lie last year, so I'm not ruling anything out. But I actually think you're right, because it doesn't even look like he can move back there.
Yeah, this is a strictly an escape shot to get to a position to attack the green on his third.
Yep, the one solace he can take from this is that he is 5 strokes up on any of his cards, so I'm sure he isn't that concerned. But, you do want to keep that ball moving. Any shot like that can really be the catalyst for a cold streak.
Sure.
Our Jomez crew filming all the action. Be sure to check out their coverage. Should be up by tomorrow afternoon. They do a great job, obviously.
Yeah, they've been pretty much 24 hours.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic turnaround time with the amount of time it takes to edit, do the voiceover, the upload.
Yeah, that's something that really can't be taken lightly. The upload can increase times by, tenfold, depending. If you're uploading from a hotel, it's a nightmare. Colton finds himself inside of circle 2, it looks like. But that green is just an absolutely treacherous one to run.
It's dangerous, yeah.
James with a pretty prime shot off the tee. Looking to stick that green, though. It is pretty touchy. Have to imagine he is going with that mid-range. Looks to be maybe his new MD4 in his hand. Could be a JK, though. I don't think it is. It looks to me like that C-Line MD4. Really letting it loose. Hoping to play that angle, stick it on the green. He did have to navigate that tree, but he is inside the circle with a putt for 3.
Which he needs to make.
He does. He is a little bit far away from the leader, but at this point, you really need to get as much position as you can. We are going to kick it over, I think, as we can't see Garrett's drive yet. He is setting up, he is setting up for his second shot.
Yeah, and Garrett, just like yesterday, having a slow start out of the gate.
Yeah, he did catch that birdie on 7, couldn't quite follow it up on 8, but this is the spot yesterday where he was able to turn it on and rack up some birdies.
And just seeing U-Disc flash, Eric Oakley has birdied hole 12 and moved to 25 down.
Wow, that is Garrett sitting about 4 feet outside of circle 1. We are going to catch up with a word from our sponsors shortly.
Hello everybody, thank you very much for watching. This is the 2018 Patreon raffle. We've already chosen the winner, so I'm just going to run right through it. Winning the DGPT Silly Pint is Charles Heath. Winning the DGPT Socks is Terry Miller. Thank you for being a Patreon, Terry Miller. Even cool people are Patreons. And winning the DGPT shirt is Stephen Kyle Boatwright. Thank you all very, very much. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. I honestly thank you from the bottom of my heart. We have a dream that we are all building and taking care of and fostering and nurturing and growing and watching become something real, and we could not do it without all of you. So thank you very much. If you want to become a Patreon, go to patreon.com/DGPT. Now let's get ready to watch these guys play some disc golf.
As Colton is laying up that pretty much obvious layup shot, we did unfortunately miss Ricky throwing a pretty routine up shot, and he should be about 10 to 12 feet for his 4.
Yeah, he's with a really bad drive, unfortunate lie. Great second shot and perfect third shot. He's going to not really lose any strokes to the field.
Garrett needs this to establish the momentum here. Yeah, just a little bit lazy out of the hand and catches that band. He just cannot get it dialed right now. You could see it in his body language. He obviously isn't satisfied either.
Of course not, but at least he let that one fly.
Definitely did have more glide than a lot of those other, we'll call them dead putts. They kind of just
ducks,
flopped out.
Yeah.
James opting for jacket off this hole. See if he can drill it. He looks to be about 2/3 of the way outside, or in 2 circles edge,
Yeah,
so
and this
probably
will put him
20-22.
just 4 strokes behind Rick.
he is able to convert, and that, like you said, put him 4 strokes behind Rick. Now, he is, as we say in baseball, he is one swing of the bat away, right? As long as you keep it within 4, you can always make something happen. Ricky, you know.
Yeah, like a double ace. Is that what you're saying? The ace is one hole twice.
I was thinking it goes into one basket, stays there, jumps into another basket, therefore 1 shot during 2 holes. That seems to be the only way he'd be able to catch him on hole 10/11. But for now, we are going to have to settle with the birdie 3 and move on to hole 10. Just want to say a big shout out to all of those that took part in that trivia question. Going over to my Instagram account at Johnny Disc Golf and weighing in. I do not want to spoil it yet. There may or may not have been the correct answer posted. We will get back to that shortly. But for now, everybody head on over and get your suggestion in. You may still have a chance.
Hashtag shameless self-promotion.
Hashtag branding. Now, we are on the tee of hole 10 where James Conrad has the box after that birdie 3. And he has the hair to make it happen here on hole 10. He is going to opt for this, I believe, beat-up leopard on this turnover line. Definitely a tough backhand hole, obviously set up for the sidearms. But we have seen a handful of backhand birdies already.
Yeah, in hole 10, playing, middle of the pack, just over par, 3.12. Most of the field, like 2/3 of the field, is just getting par on this hole. And the other third splitting pretty much down the middle, birdie bogey.
Oh my goodness. See, that is the too good of a shot. Just a hair lower, he burns it into that, but you could see how right that leopard really wanted to get.
Yeah, and I think that also shows you why the forehand is preferable, because it's finishing to the right, slowing down, and even though he threw essentially kind of a perfect shot, it just kept gliding.
Well, Ricky, with obviously more distance than he is looking for there, almost taking out the spectator with a stool who did not decide to move their bag. We saw James kind of play the victim of that during Memorial. Where the spectator didn't move his water bottle.
Water bottle.
Yeah.
What could have been.
Yeah, but James, got to give the guy credit. He did come back from that brilliantly. He ended up turkeying to end his round. So definitely able to come back from something like that. Garrett here opting for the high turnover shot, but
and
that
way left to right.
That is biting to the right. See, James's shot looked way better off the tee.
It did. It just got too hot, and then it flexed out and continued to skip down the hill.
Exactly. It's a testament to really that distance control you need on a shot like this when it has that open back door that you can squirt out of. Colton playing that turnover line as well. Shocking to see 3 backhands, but Garrett, wow, that did have a little bit of action, but he is going to be putting back at that basket. Garrett and Colton set up for the 2s. We'll see if they can convert after the FPO.
360 feet for hole number 10. Everybody coming off the star birdie on the previous hole. Jennifer Allen firing strong, coming right at Chad, the cameraman. And Jennifer Allen's going to have a look at birdie. Holcomb made a great jumper in round 1 to card the birdie. This time she's wide left. And she's going to have to fight out of the woods. Paige trying to correct from the previous round where she came in tight. This time she hangs it wide. Another layup might be coming from Paige Pierce. How dare she? And Katrina Allen finds herself just outside circle 2. Holcomb flipping out and around. She's going to have the same putt that Jen Allen does, and Allen's birdie slips through the left side chain. Holcomb comes up short. She'll take the bogey. 3 pars, and the bogey here by Sarah Holcomb. Madison Walker's making her charge up 3 spots.
Paige Pierce absolutely dominating the female field, up 10 strokes after the 10th hole in the 3rd round. Unbelievable. She hasn't even been that dialed today. Just a testament to how much work she has put in previous to this round.
Yeah, she's just cruising.
After the disappointing 963 round, I mean, it's
disappointing.
After the 1025 round, the 963 does seem disappointing, but hard to knock that.
Right.
Looking to put up an even better round today. James here with a really outside look.
Wow, he went way down the hill.
Okay, so just a pure layup. Obviously just throwing it to the base of the grip extended basket here.
Thank you to grip.
Ricky obviously has some meat on the bone. He wrapped a bit around this tree and looks like he is outside of the circle with quite the unique putt/up here. Yes, can't imagine a world in which he's running this with a big as lead as he has.
No, not with the lead.
Although Eric Oakley has run off a few birdies and is technically within 1 stroke right now.
I mean, this looks to be a blind, like really high spike hyzer putt.
I think he might go through this.
Is he going
gap.
left gap?
Oh, he's pit. No, he can't. Yeah, centered it up. Oh, he
Oh,
was.
wow.
Wow, that is an aggressive play from a man with a 4-stroke lead on his card. Good action off the basket, obviously, though, to save him.
Yes.
But
it's impressive that he went for that.
yes.
But when you're,
That's a confidence
arguably
play.
the best putter in the world.
Yeah. And also, just the fact remains, Ricky don't lay up.
Right.
He is one of the most aggressive.
Yeah, there's a
on
putt
the
from
green.
like Utah last year that was, I think like a pit of snakes and wild animals and fire behind the basket, and he went for it.
Great putt by Garrett. Now, hopefully he can get that confidence building on the putting green because he has been great off the tee today. Hasn't been able to convert in any of those opportunities, though.
That's the best putt I've seen him make all day.
I mean, it's kind of the only putt I've seen him make all day.
I wasn't going to say that.
But Colton right here with a chance to match. And I believe it might give him the box.
Good hit.
Yeah, great shot. Able to come away with the birdie, too. Both of the players in position to score do come away with that. Ricky and James having to clean up. Ricky just taking his time. No reason to rush it. Jacket and bag on cleanup. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, or excuse me, 2 birdies, 2 pars as we move on to hole 11.
Tempercraft USA. Double wall 18/8 stainless steel construction keeps it cold while you're hot, keeps it hot while you're cold. Get your customized growlers, tumblers, and sports bottles. With a lifetime warranty and 1% back to the planet. Tempercraft USA. Temper your thirst.
As we are on the tee of hole 11, the par 4, 560 feet, kind of reminiscent to hole 7 in that it's that big right to left hyzer off of the tee, followed by that really touchy, shorter left to right, avoiding those the nastiness of trees just short of the pin.
Yeah, and also similar to 7, it's the scoring metrics are almost the exact same.
And that makes sense.
40% getting birdie, 40% par, and then the rest sharing bogey or worse.
Garrett opting for the big high hyzer, putting himself ahead of those rolls of hay there, the cylindrical hay bales, if you will. And that's right where you want to be. No reason to be left of that. And there's really no reason to be short with the amount of power that all of our lead card players have.
Yeah, you just can't be in the woods next to the hay there.
Looks to be a good release from Colton there. Yep, and he is in prime real estate with that pretty short, routine for these caliber of players upshot. James getting a feel for the runway. Looking to take off with this red destroyer in his hands. Looks to be a little bit left of our other competitors' drives. Hopefully it will stay out of that brush. Hard to tell from this view if it did, but regardless, it's too close. It's closer than you want to come.
For certain.
I appreciate, Sean, you getting the thesaurus out for us today. Ricky Wysocki playing a pretty safe up-the-middle shot. Just right of those hay bales as our FPO division plays this hole.
Hole 11, 560 feet. We're back here with the women. Paige Pierce still the commanding lead. Jennifer Allen's drive finished short left. That was her second shot. This is her third. She wants to make it up on the hillside, but that cuts in early on the right. Katrina's second shot hits off the hay bales, still in the fairway. Paige Pierce tries to cut up and around to the right side. She'll be a little bit short. Katrina's third shot, just trying to make the bend. Jen Allen's going to be short, and she's looking at a bogey from there. Katrina strong on the approach. She'll make the comebacker.
Oh my God.
And Paige Pierce looking at a birdie putt. Whiffs it. She's sitting with the 10-stroke lead.
Thank you so much, Terry, for that update on our FPO division. Obviously, Paige Pierce running away with it a little bit, but
As
still
to be
fun to
expected
watch.
after the first round, essentially. It's almost like 2 victory laps.
Yes, sometimes you get to see that final 9 or final round victory lap. I honestly don't even know, like, what's the mindset of somebody coming in with a 6, 7, 8 stroke lead, knowing that they're just a dominant force out there.
I would say, for her, just keep pressing.
Yeah.
Like, why stop?
No, exactly.
Gas
it's a
pedal
ratings,
to the finish.
It's a ratings play at this point, right?
Sure, yeah.
Interesting stuff. Hopefully we can get back to our MPO action soon, because we are about to take our upshots on this pretty scoreable par 4. Colton Montgomery sitting in sole position of 7th, looking to throw this spike hyzer down onto the pin.
By the way, Joel Freeman in the clubhouse, going par on 17-18, but with an 11 down.
11 down, and finishing him at 20 down for the event.
Moving up 15 spots.
He
today.
Is absolutely in contention for our biggest final round riser. We will give you those stats at the end of our broadcast. Another shot under the bucket there. Really, the only objective on this hole is to stay out of that tree cluster short of the pin. Obviously plays better with the sidearm, but James has far and away one of the best turnover putter shots in the game. So you have to imagine he is thinking easy 3Z here. Assume he is opting for that JK AVR, as he did bite off enough real estate earlier, or on the drive, excuse me, to give himself a pretty open look.
And what a great shot of James here on this beautiful course with the hay and the leaderboard and the gallery.
Yeah, looks to be an absolutely beautiful day out in Jonesboro. A little bit on the chilly side, as we've mentioned, but James from a knee, maybe those trees above him, really giving him, wreaking havoc. A shot I probably wouldn't even have to think about. Hopefully he can get enough juice on this from this standstill knee shot. really selling out, giving it all up. Looks like he has powered it up a little much, and that is
wow,
perfect. Under the bucket.
magnificent. From the knee, uphill. So hard to get power.
And that's just a great word to describe James. Magnificent, majestic. All of those words apply. Really smooth shot. You can tell he really has great command of his upper body. That's a lot of core strength to really get that disc going.
I mean, you've traveled with James before a little bit, right, Corey?
Yeah, I know him fairly well.
What's his routine like?
I would say his routine is sleeping in a hammock in moderate to high winds.
That's where the core strength comes from.
That is where that core strength, really keeping yourself centered in that hammock. But he's not your typical gym rat. He's not your Paul Macbeth, your Ricky Wysocki, your classic athlete. He's kind of your everyman that has really just developed a skill. Little known fact, James Conrad was attending Virginia Tech for a couple years, and it was kind of renowned around campus as the dude who rode his unicycle to class every single day. So he is definitely kind of that alternate lifestyle type of guy.
Sure. But an athlete in his own respect.
Absolutely. He's legitimately over 1,000 rated at juggling. He can do a 5-ball consistent juggle. Anybody that knows juggling knows that 3 you can teach yourself to juggle pretty easily. 5 balls, extremely hard. Very difficult. Great hand-eye coordination. These guys really just pretty routine tap-ins for their birdie 3s, as we expected, this being one of the softer holes on the course. Garrett moving into a tie for 3rd with Eagle, who has just birdied 14. Unfortunately, Eric did bogey 14, finding himself falling a stroke back of that 2-stroke deficit as we move on to hole 12, excuse me. Garrett Gurthie on the tee, letting it loose on this long par 4, hole 12. Checking in at 655 feet. Really, the step 1 for these guys is to clear this valley. That is pretty good positioning. Is going to have to go left of that tree and fiddle with the downslope, trying to land and match angles. Colton Montgomery looking to put himself in the landing zone. Should be noted, hole 11 coming in as the first star frame for these guys, so some hopefully good morale going on between the card. Colton doing the job. Hard to assess which is the better line, kind of throwing left of that tree or right, but if you are right, you are below the pin throwing up onto that elevation. If you're left, you really have to match that angle down into that peninsula green.
In hole 12, playing a tough birdie today. Only 15% of the field getting it, and almost 40% of the field getting bogey or worse.
I'm not surprised by that one bit, and I'm kind of shocked at how well our competitors have been playing it thus far, because kind of by the books and by the look of it, I would imagine this would be one of the harder holes out here. That green is just nasty. Everything seems to roll away.
Yeah, they call it like the hardest green on tour.
Sure, I'm not surprised one bit. James with a big-time power arm. Oh no, did not get it over. He is going to contest that tree. Oh, is knocked down into the out of bounds. Not what he was looking for at all. He has to be frustrated with that shot. This is just sets up so perfectly for him. He's so good at throwing those straight destroyer shots. Ricky improving on James's line, should be set up right in the fairway with a look up to the green. We will show you those up shots shortly, but first Terry with the FPO action.
Hole number 12, 535 feet. And we're watching Madison Walker hold on to that second spot right now, trying to pass up the rest of the lead card, and Paige Pierce rips her drive here on 12. Sarah Holcomb's going to use all of the fairway and hope to get across a little body English. And she clears the OB. Jennifer Allen with plenty of room, that's fading hard to the left, making it even longer to the pin. And Allen rips back with a mid-range, plays it off the tree, and puts herself inside the circle and the roll. Things are going her way. Paige Pierce has a jumper to put it next to the pin, and Jen Allen takes advantage, carding the birdie. Pierce does the same. The other two take pars. Paige's advantage is 11.
Paige Pierce extending that lead to 11 at this point.
I mean, her drive was just insane.
She has such raw power. She does such a good job getting that disc spinning, and she knows the angles on that defender so well.
I mean, besides Jennifer Allen, I mean, is there anyone that's remotely close to her distance?
No.
I mean, is she throwing 500-foot golf shots now?
I mean, I don't know if I would say 500-foot golf shots. I would say 450 golf shots,
right.
But she definitely has 5 bills in her. Definitely. James, obviously not the lie he was looking for off the tee, is going to have a bit of work. My guess is he's going to throw this big spike hyzer into the green, but that green is so sloped that it is difficult to get the stick down on there.
This would be an amazing par save.
Yeah, not seeing a lot of pars after this OB. I mean, just a par with a penalty stroke is so always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Up in the air, and that is on that bottom side of the green. Hard to tell from here if it did stick.
But it's a safe side of the green.
But it is the safe side, but it did have that hyzer angle, so
right.
That is prone to rolling.
Yeah, we're not sure if it could have tombstone or it could have rolled away 60 feet.
This is true. As our competitors make their way across the fairway, we can take a look at our leaderboard. Eagle McMahon making quite some progress, 8 down through 15. You see Joel Freeman coming in with the 11. He is hoping to stay in that top 10, as that's really a goal for a lot of our competitors who aren't necessarily gunning for that one spot.
Sure, and Mr. David Feldberg. The David
Feldberg, 7 down through 15. And we should note that David Feldberg was the correct answer for the number 2 earner in career PDGA winnings. Now, I must give a shout out, and I will do this again later, to Dallas Trower at DallasT503 on Instagram. You were the first person to post Dave Feldberg. We saw a lot of Barry Schultz. We saw a lot of Dave Feldbergs. We saw some Avery in there. But Dave Feldberg was the answer. Kudos to you. We will wrap this up again at the end of our broadcast. But please feel free to DM me, and I will get your shipping info shortly after we see Ricky Wysocki matching that angle.
What great touch.
Perfectly. And you can see James's shot there did tombstone into that, so he should be able to pick up that 4P.
That's a pretty ridiculous save.
Mm-hmm. Or circle 4 if you're from the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts and only played disc golf there for 7 months before I moved out here.
Yeah.
And I was circling my penalty strokes.
Like a knucklehead on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I went out of bounds twice.
Yeah, you didn't eagle.
No.
Colton here throwing from his, really being rewarded for that nice tee shot. He doesn't have too much work to do, but is going to have to throw an angled approach onto this tricky green. Oh, left it short, and that is not the putt you want outside the circle with that extremely sloped backside.
No, sir. He had the right line. He just didn't punch it hard enough.
Yeah, just left it a little low.
And it looked like the angle that he hit the ground with was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too short.
Yes, it was the perfect angle to stick. Unfortunately, the length needed a bit of a skip.
But I think at this point, a player of his caliber is going to run that putt. It's just 35 feet.
This is true. You got to trust the process, and the process is what got you to this point, right?
And Garrett showing his distance.
Yeah, pretty good look at the pin here, or probably no look at the pin, but good action to the pin.
Wow.
Settle
he
down.
kind of like almost putted that. That's how far he was.
Yeah, that is beautiful. We saw a few people on last year's coverage try and get up and over these trees onto the green, but that is definitely one of the shortest approaches I've seen on this hole. Looks to me that James might... Oh, no, obviously Colton, who is outside the circle, is going to be the farthest out, so we will see him putt first. He looks to me like he's walking up to lay this up, though. No. He's got ice water in his veins. Wow, kid's got stones.
Yeah, outside the circle, downhill, and each putt right now is money, right?
Legitimately, every stroke is either adding or subtracting from your tour funds.
Mm-hmm. And when you're in the top 10, I mean, you're talking, you know, first and second place is $1,000. So it's like, you know, a few $100s a stroke.
This is true. And so we might see some of our competitors' mindsets change as we get further into this round. You know, maybe checking the live scoring, playing for position a little bit more. James, though, obviously looking to put this one down and save the par after the pretty tragic drive. Opting for the straddle up the hill. You're going to see that a lot from high-level disc golfers. Not ideal to have your back foot lower. Such a clean straddle putter, though. You don't see a lot of difference in the action out of his hand, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He has those long arms, able to pendulum the disc and get that spin regardless of his stance. Rick taps in the birdie 3, and we have to imagine Garrett will clean up his birdie. All of our competitors making 3 throws on the hole. One of them walking away with a par. Good tap in. You can see the wind starting to whip up. We will see if that plays a factor on hole 13 when we return shortly.
This is Dan, and this is Tyler. Dan and Tyler like disc, and they like beer, so they combine them in a rigorous scientific process. Disc Golf, a card game that challenges your disc skills, drinking ability, and your friendships. With 3 categories and over 50 individual cards, mix and match. Get rid of cards you don't like, or make your own rules. Disc Golf is truly American.
Back onto the tee of hole 13. A very unique hole, one that I don't see a lot out on tour. It is extremely uphill and extremely right to left. Really, your 2 options off the tee are to throw the uphill hyzer, but you got to keep it low because there is that low ceiling. Then the alternate route, which is left of that big tree. You might see some lefties, or Rick did take that sidearm line round 2. Garrett throwing his shot, not the ideal angle, but it looks like he has gotten some applause from the crowd, so we have to imagine he is at least inside the circle or within striking distance.
Yeah, he's liking that shot.
Barely looks like he puts any effort. We'll see if Colton can mash it up there. Ooh, cutting it extremely tight. Skipping up to the pin, though. Again, acknowledging the crowd. Does like his shot.
I think this is the first time Ricky's throwing the backhand.
Yeah, we have seen him opt for that sidearm our first 2 rounds. Rick putting another good one up there. My guess is he's going to get some cheers. Really takes a lot of mustard to get it throwing up with that low ceiling on the hyzer angle. Can't emphasize it enough. You don't really have any room for it to flip to flat. Those trees on the right side do end up catching a lot of those ever so slightly turned over shots. James looking to keep this on angle. looks like he has all of our competitors with great shots on this hole. Fingers crossed our FPO can play it the same.
Hole 13, 255 feet. Welcome here as Paige Pierce is putting for birdie on the green. Oh, and just not enough from outside the circle. Draws medal for Sarah, but then sits down. Jennifer Allen has a long look uphill, also short. Katrina's putter has been low today and not on point. We'll see if she can dial it in, and it's short. The card's looking at pars here as the wind is picking up. It is cold out on Championship Sunday. Thank you guys for joining us. Right now, Paige Pierce with a commanding lead. And the real question is, can Madison Walker fight her way onto this podium? We'll find out. We're moving to 14.
Catching up with our drives, it does look like James Conrad is going to be out. Pretty close to circle's edge, but with a grouping like this, this is why they're lead card.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if they can put another star frame up.
This would be far more impressive than the star frame on the easiest hole in the course, so I will say. This one has to be playing tough.
Not tough. I mean,
Okay.
it's one of the only 4 holes that's playing under par.
Wow.
I think it's because there's so few bogey.
It really, I have to imagine there's just a huge contingency of threes.
60%.
Yeah.
And then it's one of those holes where if you don't get inside the circle, you're just pitching for a layup.
Exactly.
Right.
Kind of the opposite of hole 6, that island hole, which is really a 2 or a 4. This
Right.
is predominantly a 3. James lining up another straddle. Checking the wind. You know he's got the confidence after hitting that big one last hole. Oh, just off Am's side. Frustration spills out onto the course. He is a stroke back of our logjam of second place. Garrett Gurthie 24 down, Eagle McMahon 24 down, Eric Oakley 24 down, and then it moves on to our 23s. Ricky extending his lead. He is now moved to 29 down and a 5-stroke lead over Garrett pending this putt.
And it's looking like if Ricky gets that 30, he can just walk away. Well, he can't walk away because he would take 7s, but...
Yeah, not physically, but emotionally maybe. Colton getting the deuce there, really a testament to his power, as this is not a short playing hole. Garrett, wow, with the relative tap in, though leaves it a little high. Seeing 3 birdies in a par here, definitely playing better than the field averaged it. James, tapping in the lone 3. Not what he was looking for, but maybe we can get it cooking here on hole 14, coming up next. sitting on the pin of arguably the most beautiful hole on the property, hole 14, 520-foot downhiller. There is just so much room to work with, but you're really wanting this net straight shot. Garrett yesterday throwing an unbelievable shot off the tee. Absolutely replay worthy. With the slow start, he did lose some ground to Ricky, but he has rattled off 4 birdies in a row. Him and Colton both really picking up the pace here on the back 9.
Yeah, and this hole playing very difficult. The most common score being bogey or more, with 50% of the field getting over par.
That is an absolutely pure shot. He has found himself a little bit to the left of the bucket, but it is hard to ask for much more. You make the gap, you shoot the keyhole, and now he has a putt. Ladies and gentlemen, this just coming in. Eric Oakley has eagled the par 5 hole 16. He is now 3 strokes back. Again, a few holes ahead of our lead card, but he is right there in the mix. Colton ripping it down there, looks to have made the keyhole as well. Found himself on that left side. Will have a bit of a tricky putt, but being that close, he might be able to finagle away around a bush.
That was a great shot. He was it was a slight flex shot, but it wasn't very wide, left to right and then right to left.
My guess is we are going to see that wide left release from Rick. That's how he's been playing it all week. Oh, a little bit tighter. Please get out of the way. Beautiful. Right there on the green. He is stoked. Gallery approves. James Conrad, despite the slow play, giving him the high 5. Always great vibes with James Conrad on the card. Sitting in 7th place, 23 down, 6 strokes off the lead. He is, at this point, really contending with a few players who are already in the clubhouse. So with each stroke here, he now is just going to climb and climb. Sitting at a bogey-free 4 down on the round. Letting it rip, has turned it over a little bit. He might end up in those trees again on the right side, but it is flexing out right in front of our cameraman, and that is great.
4 fantastic shots.
Kudos to Chad out there on second cam for hanging in tight. Now we're going to kick it over to Terry with the FPO.
520 feet here on hole 14. Madison Walker sits with the second hottest score in the field at 2 under par. She's just a few steps ahead of the lead card. Pages turns way over, but then finally fights back on the par 4. And she's cleared the OB water easily. Jennifer Allen's playing the full flex and finds herself left center fairway. She'll have a look here for the eagle and doesn't want to take the chance to the elevated pin. And from the same distance on the right side, Paige Pierce cuts through the trees. She's got a look for birdie and cans it. Paige Pierce just relentless. And Allen's putt again low. Jennifer, however, taps in for the easy birdie on 14. Just 4 holes left to play. Jennifer and Madison are tied.
Back down to the green of hole 14. You can see James's yellow destroyer sitting there oh so close to the green as our competitors are going to make their way and assess their lies. I would imagine Garrett or Colton would be out on that left side. Garrett, odds are, with the more open putt. Colton looks like off the tee that he's going to have to navigate either a small bush or a network of trees, depending on where your disc sits.
And Ricky, knowing this hole has high differentiation, you could see how excited he was that he put it close.
A 2 is just remarkable on this hole. Garrett, you can tell, really slid out the back. He's going to be outside the circle, putting into a downhill behind the basket. So this is really going to give you an indication of how much pressure or how much gas he really wants to put.
And his putting style, which is, kind of a little loopy. He needs a little bit of height.
This is true.
Right to left. It looks like that there's a branch there that might prevent him from being, just specifically comfortable in his own style.
I think he's going to lay it up, I'll be honest with you. He is taking his time. He's taking his time. Oh, unbelievable putt. He is a confident man. That is 5 birdies in a row. He is looking to put his mark on this event. A second-place finish for Garrett would extend that hot streak from Waco into this. There's no stopping him, Sean.
That was beautiful.
So much more confident than his early round putts.
I know.
I don't get it.
I mean, this round is a carbon copy from yesterday.
Colton splashing out the right side, spoiling what could have been one of the greatest star frames this course has to offer.
I'm sure, yeah. I think yesterday only one person got it.
Yes, Garrett was the only person to birdie it. James, this far out, which means that Ricky is relatively parked. I believe you can see him right on that backside there.
Good conversion by Mr. Conrad.
Moves him into a tie for 6th with Colton at 24 down, 1 stroke off the pace for 4th, where Eagle McMahon and Dave Feldberg are sitting. Rick putting in the 2 with emphasis. This is his event to win at this point. He is 4 strokes clear of the field, really with only Garrett putting any pressure on him at all off this card. Colton tapping in the par before we move to a word from our sponsors. Jumping back on the tee, Garrett looking to continue his hot streak with 5 straight birdies. This is the easiest hole on the course, checking in at 270 feet. Garrett puts it pretty much under the bucket. I'm counting that as bird.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 in a row, and he's moved himself back up to 2nd place, which is where he started the day.
Has ceded a few strokes to Ricky so far. Rick, though, you have to imagine, is throwing it perfectly.
I mean, what are you going to do?
No, there's nothing you can do.
When you're down by 4 and the guy's pinning it?
There's nothing to do. You just sit back, enjoy the ride, and have to get Eric by a couple strokes here at the end.
I mean, the good news for us as spectators right now is there's high variance on the last 3 holes.
No question. 16, 17, and 18 proving to be some of the most impactful finishing holes on tour. James sets himself right next to the bucket. This has all the makings of that star frame. Definitely less impressive than if 14 was star framed. But this one obviously is a musket.
Yeah, when you say musket, 2/3 of the field is getting this.
Yeah, never a great
and
feeling.
You can increase the percentage right now.
And I think it will right here. Let's see how the FPO played it.
Hole number 15, Paige Pierce with a 12-stroke advantage, while Jennifer and Madison are tied at even. The play is the low skip shot off to the right side and let it come to the basket. Paige Pierce is just inside the circle looking for a birdie. Jennifer, with more power, goes higher and comes in short, but she's inside the circle. Katrina keeps it low, but gets a little ground play. She's inside the circle with a birdie opportunity. Pierce's strong putt hits off top basket. She'll settle for the par. Jennifer cards her 2nd birdie in a row. And Katrina's opted to just step up and fire, and it works for the birdie. 2 birdies and 2 pars on 15.
Colton did leave himself a little bit short. I'd like to publicly apologize for calling him Colin so many times. It is one letter off. Great putt there by Colton. Really making a name for himself out here on lead card, not backing down one bit from the names like James Conrad, like Ricky Wysocki, like Garrett Gurthie. Easily could have came out and let the moment get really too big for him. The rest of these guys really just going through the motions, tapping in their twos, and we are looking at a star frame, our second star frame of the day. Should be noted, 16, 17, and 18, some of the most impactful holes we have out here. Definite eagle opportunity on 16. We saw Ricky park it for 3. We saw Garrett miss a pretty short putt for 3, so it is viable. If Rick finds trouble and Garrett doesn't, we could see something on hole 16 next. Here we are at the tee of the par 5. Very eagleable. 855-foot hole 16. Garrett Gurthie will have the box to start us off. Yesterday he put himself in a premier position to throw it across the lake. Have to imagine that he's drawing up the same thing in his head.
Yeah, except, cashing the 18-footer.
Yes, exactly. He played it the exact way you want to, except unfortunately was not able to come away with that eagle.
This hole's really interesting. It's averaging exactly par. There's only 7 eagles, and they're not necessarily the names you'd expect to see.
Okay, hit me.
Matt Mayo eagled this hole today.
Wow.
The perennial tourer. Brandon Brown.
Good guy.
Tommy, who runs the Disc Golf Pro Tour trailer.
He eagled it?
Yeah.
Good for him.
And then, of course, then you see Devin and Kevin Jones, but it's not the best guys necessarily.
No, certainly. I mean, the shots are there, but you do have to execute them. Garrett throwing that casual, easy, breezy 500 like he is known to do. A little bit of a flip to flat with that left finish. Really, the one thing you're trying to avoid is getting under that tree in the landing zone. It's really the only thing, if you do get off a clean shot, that is going to come into play.
Seems like he skipped left of it.
I think he should have at least an open look. Might have a little farther than he wanted to. Rick throwing the enforcer out there to the right side, looking for it to drift left. It is coming back left. That thing is stable. Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's how you put an exclamation mark on an already great round. He has birdied the last 5 holes and sitting at 9 down through 15. James has to get a 3 if he would like to get up into that tie for second conversation, because right now he has pretty much locked himself into that 25 category. Him, Colton, and Eagle all tied at 25 down, along with career earnings number 2, David Feldberg. Looks to have put himself into pretty good position. Really, anything better than that turned over shot to the right yesterday is an improvement, and will allow him to try and get up and down on the green. Colton, we know from watching him all day today that he throws far, so we have to imagine he has enough to get himself into this Threeville landing zone. Oof, looks like he has done just that. He is up there with Rick. Goodness gracious, that kid can crush. We are going to check those. Oh, it is rolling into actually better position.
Did he roll down to the drop zone?
He did, and we are going to check out that next shot after Terry breaks down. Oh, is he still rolling? Everyone's chasing it.
Hole number 16, 520 feet, par 4. And we'll catch up with Jennifer Allen as she's got back-to-back birdies and playing for placement. Just short of the water's edge as Pierce opts for the forehand. Exit stage left for Pierce. Her forehand skip plays down to the hillside where she's got the standstill. And running toward the basket comes short. She'll have an uphill putt fighting the wind. And Jennifer Allen's great drive puts her in position here. She's looking at a birdie putt. Page for par is short. She'll move on with the bogey. But Jennifer Allen picks up 2 strokes, carding the birdie on hole 16. That's 3 in a row for Allen.
As our competitors make their way up the fairway, we are going to give you a slight update on the Masters side of things. Apologies for anybody who is DVRing. If you don't want to know, cover your ears now. Patrick Reed coming down into the 18th hole does have a 2-stroke lead. Now, if Ricky is losing a bit of focus in this Jonesboro Open final round, it should be noted that he put a $40 wager on Patrick Reed to win before the tournament started. Sean, what's that payout?
Well, the odds are allegedly around 40 to 1. I don't know if Ricky got those exactly, but I think he's expecting a $1,400 payoff on that bet.
Wow. Okay, so this weekend could really turn into Ricky's weekend if he was able to pull down the win. That would be a $3K payout from Jonesboro, as well as a $1,400 payout on his Patrick Reed bet. I know
it's pretty impressive.
Straying away from the storylines here, but that is just an all-around great weekend.
I wonder if Patrick Reed put 40 down on Ricky.
And we do know at this point that Vegas does have odds on disc golf, so that is an option. James Conrad here looking probably to throw the big hyzer off to that right side, which he does. It is pretty open. All you're really contesting with is that dead tree by the water, which he does find, and it drops what looks to be OB. Goodness, I know James is a better player than that. Not what he was looking for. Does give you that signature snap. That's really all you're going to get as far as negative energy out of him. He is a genuinely positive guy.
I'm interested to see where Mr. Montgomery's disc finished, because there was a lot of action with spectators chasing it down that hill.
Yeah, I believe it rolled down right into that corner, kind of where that drop zone is, so he should be set up with yes, I mean, he might have a tree, a stick in his way, but he's right in the ideal landing zone. Garrett right here. My guess throwing this hyzer as well. As he is, wow, he went even a little long. Looking to stick it by the pin, was able to yesterday. Airs a bit on the long side, but he will have a comebacker in between circle 1 and circle 2.
Oof, that's a tough putt to go for.
That
especially for Eagle.
And he did already go for that 1 on 14.
He
straight
did.
Down. I mean,
he can lay that up and still get birdie and extend that streak.
This is true, but
Ricky's in the perfect spot for him.
Yeah, really gonna play that felon. Probably a little bit of turn out of his hand. As we see with a hyzer finish, should be right next to the bucket. This is his shot of choice. He did leave it a little short. Hard to say if it's stuck on that hill or not. We are going to wait to see what our competitors do, if they're going to walk across the bridge.
We got Colton's shot, so it rolled down actually to a great spot.
Wow. You cannot ask for a better drive than this. He is going to have a pretty simple turnover shot at about 300 feet.
Just the footing might be compromised a little bit. We talked about that earlier. When you're approaching a downhill shot, it forces you to throw down.
Which is definitely not what you want, considering there is a full lake. He did throw it a little light, but you didn't have to get a ton on it to get it over there. He is, in fact, long of the pin at circle's edge. We are going to follow our competitors, as I believe Conrad is going to have to throw from this drop zone. do not have word yet if Ricky will too, but we know Ricky didn't quite make it up that ledge, but was able to cash his birdie putt yesterday from below the ridge.
Yeah, yesterday was his second shot that we thought might have been OB because he laid up. His drive was caught up in that tree.
James, 25 down, looking not to lose any more strokes here. This is him throwing 4, so really needs to save this par. He's already going to be losing strokes to the field. Just needs to limit that damage. Throwing the JK AVR on that turnover line looks a little hot. Nope, perfect.
Well done. So he can tap out for par.
Yeah, he will tap out for par as we check out our FPO action.
Are you currently looking for the one? How do you get hooked up usually?
Through friends,
Players' parties.
sometimes even fans.
And how's that been working for you?
Not so good.
Have you ever tried looking online?
Never.
You should check this site out.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Find your go-to disc at blankinkdiscs.com today. 2018 Tour Support discs available now.
Gotta get one.
I need one.
Bad company corrupts good morals, but this is one criminal you'll want to know. The criminal from Dynamic Discs is the utility driver you need to assault high scores on the course. With more speed than the felon and more stability than the convict, the criminal can be trusted in any situation. Befriend this criminal and start doing some bad things to your course.
Keeping up with Macbeth Watch 2018, he was able to finish 3 down through the final 4 holes, moving himself into a 17 down for the event, 16 down for the round, currently tied for 13th place, something you do not say a lot in association with Paul Macbeth.
No, I think besides that 20th place 2 years ago at USDC, besides that, he had a 12th place finish at Vibram that year.
Wow, so this is officially his worst. This if he stays
Sans
at 13,
USDC, yeah.
Yes, Sans USDC, that rain shortened round. This will be his worst finish in 3 seasons. We saw Garrett lay up that 50 to 60 footer straight at the water. Sean, you called it. Colton looking to assert some dominance here. Great putt, quality eagle. That moves him up into a tie for second, gaining a stroke on Garrett. Now, Garrett will move to 28 down after tapping in the birdie, so not technically a tie for second yet, but he is right nipping on the heels for his best finish, really ever. Oh, Rick, just cashing in the 3.
What are you going to do?
It looks a lot more dangerous when you're on the opposite side of that river, because that's a pretty routine putt.
What are you going to do when the guy's 7 through 6 holes?
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for moving there. James Conrad looks to put in the 5 and just move on, which he does. Garrett tapping in the 4, and we should have a nice little scoring there. 3, 3, 4, and 5. Moving on to hole 17. The nastiness starts now. Checking into hole 17, this is an absolute monster. It is 660 feet with an uphill drive to a downhill landing zone. Extremely touchy shot. You saw our competitors yesterday really ending up on like 6 different fairways of the course.
Yeah, I was very confused.
Yeah, I think our viewers were too. We were on one side of the trees, we were on the other. Ricky, though, throwing that turnover shot, need that left finish. Seems like all of our guys all weekend have been turning it over into those trees.
Yeah, the Blair Witch Forest, as you like to call it.
Ugh, it is not fun. Colton looking to keep up the pace. He has gone, I believe, 6 down through his last 6. Excuse me, 7 down through his last 7.
Yeah, this is his coming of age party. You know, his beginning was okay, his middle was okay, and then he has stepped on the gas pedal.
Him and Garrett both. Garrett has gone 7 birdies in a row. Colton with the 1 par, but then the 1 eagle. He has set himself up for the birdie on this hole as well. Garrett giving you the thumbs up. Have to imagine that is in the landing zone as well. Definitely one of the more difficult holes to find a good position for our second camera, as the variance off the tee is pretty wide. It could be wide left, could be wide right into those trees. Regardless, we're going to try and give you the best action we can. James Conrad teeing off with, I'm almost certain that was his MD4. As Chad proves my point correctly. Thank you, Chad. We are moving on to our FPO action right now.
Home stretch. We're here on hole number 17. Pierce, just a 9-stroke advantage as we're watching Katrina Allen throw her second shot from the right side woods. Pierce also found trouble off the tee. Her second shot goes no more than 50 feet. And we see a second shot fighting out from the woods for Jennifer Allen. Holcomb, the only one in the open off the drive. And she's down below the basket. She'll have an uphill putt for birdie. Katrina's third shot puts her within 30 feet of the pin. And Paige is fighting her way out. Also puts herself inside 25 feet. Holcomb's got to look for birdie, but doesn't convert. Jen Allen cans the putt for par, and she keeps the hot round alive. Paige Pierce is going to lose a stroke with the bogey here. We're through 17 holes. Paige Pierce, 8 strokes going into the final hole.
Checking back in with our MPO scorecard, Eagle McMahon has bogeyed 18 to move back down to 8 down, and we're currently in sole possession of 7th place. It looks to me like that is how he will finish, pending any sort of explosion on our lead card, as everyone behind him has entered the clubhouse. James Conrad needing some strokes here. Any bogeys, any strokes over par will drop him precipitously in the standings, and any birdies, really he's trying to chase down that 27 number. You see the disc in the air. He's going with that big hyzer shot over the trees. Has descended into the forest.
Can't quite tell if he's going to have a look at the basket for birdie.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd is clapping.
Oh, they are clapping, so I'm going to guess it was a good shot.
Yeah, it should be probably a putt inside the circle at worst, just judging by the crowd reaction. Looks like it is Garrett next on the tee.
I want to thank the lead card personally for the drives they threw today versus yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
I think everyone was in the woods right there.
I think all 4 of our competitors were on the right side of the woods, too.
Yeah.
Wow, Garrett throwing the big hyzer over, what is that, hole 13's pin. That is that uphill corkscrewing hole. And he has made it out of the woods. Circle's edge inside the circle. He is loving it. He is smiling. I think that'll do it. That'll do it when you are chasing a few strokes. Not much pressure to take down the W.
No. Now they're battling for second and third place. It's good seeing Garrett having a good time.
Yeah.
He needs, like, I don't know, putting juice or something.
No, I know. I feel like that
in the beginning of the round.
That is his demeanor, though. Every time I've ever seen him, he's all smiles. He is absolutely peppy and just happy to be there.
It looks like Ricky's birdie streak might come to an end.
Yeah, he is kind of reduced just to pitching up. And now he might have just received word that he has already made some money this weekend.
Yeah, Patrick Reed finishing not a spectacular round.
But a round nonetheless.
Yeah.
Ricky Fowler really making that late charge. Same with Jordan Spieth, trying to take it down to the wire. Patrick Reed coming away with the Masters victory. We have it on DVR here at the Anza studio, so we will be catching up with that later. But for now, let's see Colton throw his approach. He's got a pretty tough angle to the pin. He is going to throw that same disc that he threw the turnover shot with on the par 5, hole 16. Squeaks by the tree, and we'll have a putt, but a long and technical one at that. We are going to make our way down the fairway, and I believe it will be Ricky's shot from the top of this hill first, before we approach the green to see our putts. You can see where we currently stand. James Conrad really kind of locked into that fourth or fifth place finish, unless he makes some significant leaps here on the last 2 holes. He needs to go birdie, birdie. We've moved into like a 90s music video fade, but we are back to our B cam, and Rick has not really put himself in great position here. He's gonna have to hit a putt from the woods.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Right? And, Ricky so far this year has not done so well. He's gone 3rd in Vegas, 4th Memorial, 3rd at Flat Creek, 13th at Waco. What was his last win, Corey? Not including the Pro Tour Championship.
Okay, not
his
including
last
the Pro
standard
Tour.
win.
His last legitimate win was Hall of Fame Classic last year.
Good job.
I knew it?
And yeah,
Yes.
That's right.
Well, to be fair, it's also the last tournament of last year.
That is true.
That is true. He had...
And a spectacular win that was.
It was a spectacular three-way playoff. He hit huge...
Top 3 guys in the world.
And he hit huge putts.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was jamming putts. It was one of the most entertaining rounds you'll ever watch. Go ahead and check that out on Jomez Pro YouTube channel if you want to go back after this round and check out some entertaining disc golf.
Not only go check out the video, go check out that place. Yeah,
IDGC is one of the best.
It's it's our mecca. Like for me, you have to make a pilgrimage there.
Yes. It's 3 woods courses.
Really fun.
Unbelievable piece of property.
Great museum. Great property for like cookouts.
Yep, the campgrounds on site.
Yep, I went and played the Tournament Directors Cup a couple
it was
years
at
ago.
IDGC.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
a great experience.
IDGC being the International Disc Golf Center, for those not in the know.
And just a short drive from Augusta.
This is true. That's where we stayed. So we went out there for Worlds, stayed in Augusta, because we were halfway in between Fort Gordon and IDGC over there. James coming up short on his bid for birdie from the woods. Ricky with definitely a tough putt, but he just needs to get it up and down to maintain his lead here. Is going to walk away with that bogey 5, unfortunately. But doesn't really dash his chances at winning, as he does have that 5-stroke lead to Garrett. If Garrett could take the 2 here, though, this would reduce it to 3 with the hardest hole on the tournament, or on the course, coming up next. The people are all rooting for it to go in, and it does not go in. That was an air ball. Unfortunate there for Garrett. He was, I don't know if maybe the bogey on from Ricky's part was playing through his mind. Chance to take 2 strokes, but regardless, he's going to have to tap in this 4. Maybe not so much of a tap in. It did go downhill a bit.
Good comebacker.
Yep, disappointing 4, but it's one of those holes that plays well above par. So walking away with the 4 is not the worst thing.
Yeah, our lead card is going to finish 1 over par for the hole.
Yeah, true testament to the technicality of these last 2 holes. 1 bogey right here. We move on to hole 18 next.
Are you currently looking for the one? How do you get hooked up usually?
Through friends.
Players' parties.
Sometimes even fans.
And how's that been working for you?
Not so good.
Have you ever tried looking online?
Never.
You should check this site out.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Find your go-to disc at blankinkdiscs.com today. 2018 Tour Support discs available now.
Gotta get one.
I need one.
So with Colton on the tee, we have some developing storylines outside of the lead. Now, that drive turning over could net him into a good position, but if it does not, Sean, what are we looking at here?
So Colton right now, if he pars, he will secure 3rd place.
Okay.
And that's significant because, as a lot of people know, sponsors pay bonuses for top 3 finishes.
Yes.
And I know that as of this year, most sponsors have done matching bonus, same as national tour events for pro tour events. So they can be significant.
That's legitimate, yes. Colton now in a tie for 3rd place with Eric Oakley. So a birdie would give him sole possession. A bogey would drop him back into 4th.
Correct. And potentially losing a bonus.
Yes.
In addition, Garrett has got a 1-stroke lead, which currently would pay him $500.
Relative to 3rd.
Relative to 3rd.
So we could see a putt up here on the 18th green really be a $500 putt. Now, Sean, I know how much pressure I have when it's a dollar putt. I can't imagine 500 times that.
Yeah, because you missed 2 of them yesterday when we were playing doubles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I missed more than that today when I played by myself. James really putting himself into good position, making the gap, and giving himself a really appropriate approach up to this really tough Peninsula green here on 18. Ricky throwing out the Biofusion Defender. A wonderful line. That was what he was drawing up this whole weekend. Finally able to execute on it. Little flip up, little flat, little Anheuser. These guys are moving on to their lives, and we are moving on to the FPO.
Jennifer Allen has 3 strokes over Madison Walker and Sarah Holcomb. Walker is up the fairway playing her final few shots as Allen misfires hard left. Pierce splits the uprights and it's fading right. She can play up the right side of the fairway. And that's Jen's 3rd shot after going OB off the tee. This is her 4th shot. And she's just barely up the fairway as she's throwing her 5th. And the 5th one hits a tree. Paige Pierce throwing her 2nd shot very easily. This is just a walk in the park for Pierce as she's throwing her 3rd shot up to the pin. We'd like to thank you guys for joining in and watching the FPO coverage. Paige Pierce dominant here this weekend as the rest of the women fight for 2nd and 3rd, and Paige is delayed just for a few moments as she's tapping in. Again, congrats to Paige Pierce of Dynamic Discs. She's our Jonesboro Open champion, back-to-back years. Allen's double bogey puts her in a tie for the charging Madison Walker. We'll see you guys at the next event.
So there you have it. Paige Pierce taking down the FPO division by 10 strokes. Colton here looking to at least par to secure himself that 3rd place finish. Doesn't quite get the distance he was looking for off of that shot. I'm sure he is going to have to contend with that tree up to the screen.
Yeah, it looked like he was laying up because he had to.
Of course.
But there's a jail in front of his shot.
Yeah, he laid up into a jail cell.
That's going to be tough. I mean, there's some money on the line and bonus money on the line.
And frankly, you don't
Podium on the line.
And you don't want to finish your event with a bogey, just
No.
off the top.
No matter how good he played all weekend, it's the first bite of his sandwich or a quaff of his beer is not going to taste as good.
Exactly. Garrett here with a window to the basket, and he does like his hyzers. So we have to imagine he is going to be trying to put it up by the bucket. Granted, he is in sole possession of second place, and Colton is getting a par at best, so no reason to get real froggy and test that OB. That works. That looks to me like that will secure sole possession of second place for Double G Garrett Gurthie. Really the redemptive story of the event. Great to see him out here touring again. He attributed much of his motivation to go on tour to all the advancements in media coverage. Really just making him jealous of all the guys out there living the dream.
That's really cool. And thank you for that, Corey.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. And it's just a blast to be able to do it. Ricky throwing the easy up. He is going to up from there and tap in his par and take himself to the winner's circle. James here needing to throw the turnover up to the green. Definitely a touchy shot. Kind of halfway in between a mid and a driver, I would think, with him, but he is probably opting for the T-bird, if I had to make a guess. Looks driver. Looks to be turned over a little bit, probably hanging out with Ricky in the center of that fairway. We are going to show you the comparison between our first and second place finishers. Really, the difference comes in the circle one in regulation and the scramble rate. Garrett finding himself off the fairway a few times, not able to convert those back into greens in regulation like Ricky has with the 85% scramble rate. Garrett, though, taking the cake of circle two putts, canning one more than Rick.
Crucial shot here for Colton.
Hard to know if he knows it. Beautiful shot.
Wow.
Beautiful shot. And that should secure...
No stress putt for par.
That should secure his position as tied for third place here at the 2018 Jonesboro Open. A great finish for really a relative unknown.
Yeah. Again, this is his coming out party.
Yeah.
He's getting a podium on a premier event. Well, I'm not sure if they play off for...
I don't think so. I'd imagine they're going to keep that as a tie for third.
Yeah. It was really impressive. His finish was remarkable.
Yeah, I think going from the Discmania tour manager to a legitimate pro is really the path, because Eric Oakley has raised his rating point, goodness, probably 40 points since then, as Ricky just ups to
and a smile, securing the win.
Hard not to smile with a round like that.
Yeah, I mean, if he drops in that for par, he's got the second best round of the day after Joel Freeman. He's the only one else to shoot double digits.
Wow, definitely figured we'd see a little bit more than that. I mean, it is cold, but there is not much wind. We see an 11 down from Joel Freeman and Rick, the only other person in double digits, like you said. A couple others at 9, including Colton Montgomery, who's about to tap in his par, and Eric Oakley. You know James wants to put on a show for the crowd right now. Have to imagine he is running this. Needs this birdie to get up to fourth. Is not going to find it. Leaves it a little bit short, calling into question my thinking he was going to run it. Garrett, easy upshot, no reason to test it. He is locked in to second place at this point. Looks like that is going to finalize it, with Ricky Wysocki taking down for the second consecutive year the Jonesboro Open.
Yeah, how many people are the exclusive winner to a tournament?
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, we'll have one more 2 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now. A month from now? How long is it, Sean Jack?
I can't even tell what you're asking me about.
When is the San Francisco Open?
We're about 7 weeks from now.
Okay, 7 weeks as Garrett gives it up to the
Congratulations to Garrett.
James Conrad jacket on this time. Gives it up to the crowd. The crowd really shouts out to people who are willing to walk around in 38-degree weather and watch them disc golf.
Congratulations to Colton Montgomery.
But most congratulations to Ricky Wysocki, your 2018 Jonesboro Open champion, hugging it out, getting his cheers. It's beanie off time. That means the business is done.
He played so well. I mean, he shot the second best round. 2 bogeys, actually, but there's a lot of blue in that scorecard.
Absolutely. You could see that run the latter third of the round. Starting at hole 11 through 16, going 7 down through those 6 holes. Unbelievably impressive stuff, and really that's what differentiated that tight finish that we could have seen compared to this the victory lap at the end of the round here.
And not too much movement from the lead card.
No.
Ricky stayed where he was. Garrett did. Colton moved up 1 spot. James only dropped down 2. Otherwise, the top 10 all moved up today.
Wow, so great play out of some of our leaders, and great play out of some of our folks who weren't quite in the lead. I mean, Joel Freeman jumped up into the top 10. Kudos for him. Johnny McRae played great. Eagle did, unfortunately, take that bogey in the last hole. Peter McBride, in his bid for the top 10, did double bogey 18 to drop him down to those mid-teens.
Yeah, that's tough.
That is tough. Not the best way to end your event.
Congratulations to Eric Oakley.
Absolutely. I was just going to mention that. He has played his way all the way up into that tie for third. Really the battle of the Discmania RV drivers with him and Colton. Obviously, Eric now with Dynamic Discs after that split following the 2016 season. But he has absolutely made his mark on the tour as really a perennial favorite as far as value plays in fantasy and really top finishes in just a general sense.
Yeah, I know I'm going to consider him for sure.
He doesn't throw far, but he is a true two-way player that has confidence on the green. It's hard to match that, you know. Who else do we have that played well? Did Feldberg? He did play well. He shot an 8 down.
David Feldberg had a great showing. He shot 25 down for the tournament. He got 5th place in a tournament that's only open players.
Beautiful.
He was right there, almost making the lead card yesterday, and was a good trivia question for today. That's something I wouldn't have expected.
Absolutely, me neither. I definitely was thinking Paul.
Most people think, or they think it's Kenny and then Barry, just because of longevity.
Exactly.
And it's Paul actually is 4th, if you're interested. But we're projecting Paul to be maybe the first $500,000 player because he's at $366,000 right now.
Oh, he's right there, yeah.
Yeah, and Ricky's right behind him, about 50 grand short.
So, interesting little tidbits. An absolute blast on our part, being able to call the action.
Oh man, so much fun.
2,000 miles away?
Yeah, roughly 2,000. Yeah.
Yeah. 2,056 miles I am hearing in my ear.
Oh, really?
That Google Maps tells us we are away from the event at the Disc Side of Heaven out in northeast Arkansas, Jonesboro. Really got to give props to the tournament director, Dan Peets?
Brad Peets.
Brad Peets. No, his brother is Dan, and he's the one who does all the mowing out here.
Oh, okay. So, well, to both of them then.
Yes, the Peets brothers, who I actually don't know if they have brothers.
They own a big coffee company.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Peets Coffee. Yeah, that's how they're able to afford the groundskeeping out here at Disc Side of Heaven. It is substantial. Their volunteer crew, their entire tournament crew, incredible job. This piece of property really did look lovely.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there.
I know.
It looks so much fun.
I know. I think I might make a stop on there on my big tour when I'm in the Midwest. I'd love to make a stop, play the course, just see what these guys are dealing with.
And thanks to our sponsors that make this happen. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
No question. Got to give it up for the sponsors. Grip 6 belts, Keen, Black Ink discs, which
Zuka.
Zuka,
who's been there since day one. They support the tour for every year.
Wonderful company, and they do one of my most favorite things, is a weird way of saying that, but one of the favorite things, the Zuka cart giveaway. At the end of some of their tournaments, they will take the 5 players who played the best relative to their rating. So if you have a 950 rating, you play 1,000 rated golf, you're in the running to win one of 5 free Zuka carts.
It's funny that you mention that because we have an SFO preview coming up at the end of April, and whoever has the highest delta or variance against their rating will get free entry into the San Francisco Open.
Really?
Yep.
So we have reserved one spot out of a field that has already sold out. And we're going to give that to
Registration opens Wednesday.
For the SFO preview. That spot could very well go to an AM.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah. I would say likely because they're more apt to shoot much better.
This is true. And I think that's a great thing to do. I think it would behoove a lot of tournaments to get AMs and lower level players really seeing what that professional environment is like so they can really aspire to that one day. Now, we do have Terry and the crew standing by at the awards booth ready to interview.
Speaking of Terry, thanks to Terry for all the work. Johnny V, Steve Dodge specifically.
All the boys behind the scenes that are bringing this coverage to you and allowing us to hang out in Sean's apartment in Anza Studios and bring you coverage all weekend long. So until then, we are going to hang with us for a bit more. And
what's the next event on the Pro Tour?
It's a little event called San Francisco Open. That is, like you said, 7 weeks away. I'm very excited to bring the Pro Tour back. Actually, for the first time.
For the first time in California.
To California.
Yeah.
And I am
at an inaugural event.
So excited to be a part of it.
We check out our lineup, check out our fields. Throwsfo.com is the website. We have, I think, 45,000 rated golfers.
The field is really next to none. It is as good as it gets. Now we are going to kick it straight over to Terry.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here in Arkansas, and I'm joined by our two-time champion of the Jonesboro Open, Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, both you and Paige Pierce defended titles. Is that a coincidence? What's going on here?
No, it's almost like a flashback from last year. I know it was happening a lot last year, so it's kind of repeating itself this year.
So today you went out there. You talk a lot about your game plan. What was it today that you stuck to?
Yeah, I mean, for me, going into the round, I had a number to shoot for, and it was right at what I shot. It was 10 under. I had a few hiccups, so I definitely could have done better. But all in all, with all the situations, and I was able to play safer than I needed to, or could have possibly, depending on how the tournament turned out. But so yeah, I was able to play safe and walk my way in.
Well, at one point on the back nine, you were 7 under through 6 holes. I think that's pretty good.
Not too bad.
All right, so now here we are. We've got a couple of weeks before we're going to see you again on the Pro Tour out in San Francisco. What are your plans for the next few weeks?
Yeah, I'm just going to be building off this. This is definitely something I wanted to get the monkey off my back after having, I didn't have a horrible first few tournaments, but I didn't play it up to my full potential like I feel like I should have. So it's nice to get the monkey off the back, and now I got something to work for, and now I set the bar high for myself.
So the Pro Tour Championships, of course, you've got to be thinking about that long term. We're through 3 of the tournaments. We're going to have 9 plus the finals. How excited are you to see the rest of this year play out?
I'm really excited, especially with this tournament. Like I said, I have something to build off of now. I have my confidence is high, and I'm playing at a high level also. So I'm just happy to get this win off my back and move forward. And like you said, get on to the next one and try and give myself a chance to win in San Francisco. So it's up and above from here.
All right. Well, anything you'd like to say? We had a booth more than 2,000 miles away from here. We had people and fans watching from literally all around the world throughout the weekend. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Anything you'd like to say to everyone?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you all for the support. I know Steve was telling me some of the numbers with the live viewers. It's really awesome to see that, and so I'm just excited to be a part of it. So thank you guys. Thank my sponsors, Latitude 64, Hum Kombucha, and thanks everyone for watching.
All right, well, this is Ricky Wysocki. I've got to send a big shout out to everyone, including Chad here on the ground, along with all the Jonesboro Open crew, as well as everybody back in Milwaukee, Gary to the O and Johnny V, and Sean and Corey back in the booth in San Francisco. It was a great test this weekend. We hope that you guys enjoyed the action. We're looking forward to bringing you the next stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. For your champion, your 2-time Jonesboro Open champion, that is, and your 2-time world champion, Ricky Wysocki, I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and we'll see you at the next one.
Yeah!